So, hi, folks. First of all, thank you so much for joining today. If you have a lot of questions or even just have a passing curiosity about how voice talents in the Philippines determine their rates, what the rationale is behind them, then, well, you've come to the right place. Hopefully, I'll be able to shine a little light on all that. I'd like to share what I know so far so you can make more informed judgments regarding the value that you place on your work as a voice talent. And so that clients who watch this video can also better understand where we're coming from. I'll be going through the industry standard rate guide our association helped develop a couple of years ago and explain some of the points that might be confusing to, especially to a newbie, right? So we'll go through the differences between broadcast and non-broadcast, the gray areas when it comes to web usage, as well as other categories that are not yet covered by the rate guide. We'll show the different elements that a proper quotation should have to make it fair both for you and the client. And hopefully we get to provide as many answers as we can during the Q&A portion. So since this is technically my first explainer webinar on this matter, I thought I'd preface this with a short introduction. Well, first of all, my name is Robbie Joseph. Joseph is my last name. I've been a voice talent for about 20 years and got my big break as the continuity announcer of Nickelodeon Philippines and Asia. And I've been their voice for the past 16 years. So I've done a lot of commercial and corporate projects throughout my career, and I've dedicated the last few years fighting for fair rates. I'm also one of the founding members of Vocal Alliance. It's a nonprofit organization created by voice talents for voice talents whose mission is to educate its members on best practices and standards. Okay, so enough waffling. Let's just dive right into it. The first thing I'd like to explain is how the rate guide came to be. So for many years, most voice talents in the advertising industry didn't really know what the rates actually were, particularly because we never signed contracts, which would have had that kind of useful information. And we would essentially only find out how much we got when the checks came in. So not exactly the ideal situation. I've heard many instances of talents finding out their check amount was much lower than expected, or they only got an audition fee after turning down other projects for competing brands because they assumed that they were under a lockout, only to find out that they weren't even the final talent chosen for that project and their voice got rejected last minute. It's just, so
Robbie,
these are just,
Robbie,
yeah.
Didn't you usually get at least an oral quote of what you were expected to get paid?
Right. Okay. So we had a job order that we would sign, at the production houses, but they didn't have the info like lockout period or rules of the lockout or how much we were getting. There's so many unfortunate anecdotes that I've heard and experienced myself, which can really only be attributed to, the lack of transparency, communication, and, well, things written in black and white, right? Don't ask me why we're not still signing contracts. I'm not quite sure, really, but I can conjecture that one of the reasons is because sometimes the turnover for advertising projects can be so fast-paced that the paperwork and the bureaucracy that comes with it becomes an afterthought. And so eventually it just fell by the wayside. People ended up becoming too lazy to fashion a contract. And, so for many years, there were unspoken rules and an honor system that we were following instead. So there was a time when we were signing contracts. It was when agencies were dealing directly with talent. But then somewhere down the line, they passed that responsibility down to the production houses, who in turn sort of took on the role of being agencies, but not really. It's confusing. And so I'm not sure if roles have really been defined. Hopefully that'll change soon with the passing of the Freelancers Protection Act, which aims to reinstate the issuance of contracts, and we can finally put this issue to rest. Okay, so the other real problem was as voice talents, we weren't in direct control of our own rates, and were instead subject to the arbitrations of, made by the different studios who were acting as agencies on behalf of us. And the rates varied wildly from one production house to another, with some following certain rules that others weren't. And it wasn't necessarily anyone's fault. That's just what happens when standards aren't put in place or even followed. And this is a slight tangent, but the difference between voice talents and other creative talents in the industry, like models or commercial actors, is that in order to get work, you have to go through an agency, right? Unlike us, we don't. So we're freelancers in every meaning of the word. We can command our own rates because we can have our own clientele to whom we provide our services outside of advertising. I have my own corporate clients, and I'm also in the roster of other production houses that's specialized, say, in only internal corporate projects. So I also have a clientele in other countries, and so I should be able to charge fair rates. Notice I said fair rates and not rates that I deem fit. If I said I should be able to charge whatever I want, that's not necessarily true. I specifically did not say that. The reason I say fair rates instead and not arbitrary rates is because we share this industry with others, and the health of this industry rests upon how well we work together. And so the veterans of the voiceover industry took it upon themselves to finally do something about this problem. We got together in order to bring the ball back to our court and let voice talents have a say in our talent fees. It sounds it sounds a little ridiculous. Like, isn't that a given? But no, unfortunately, it wasn't. So another reason why we created the rate guide was so the various production outfits that did hire us could compete on a more level playing field and not use our rates to gain leverage during the bidding process. There were a lot of production companies that would try to outbid each other by undercutting the competition. But in doing so, they were also lowering or compromising our TFs along with theirs. Just a disclaimer, I might be treading dangerous ground here. I don't want to put the blame on anybody. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but this was really an industry-wide problem and not relegated to just a few production companies. It's because of this that so many production houses, especially video production houses, have closed shop. The problem was it became a race to the bottom. And it also happened in the photography sector. I think Luis knows this, right? Yeah.
And I've been hearing
Amen.
news as well that it's
Right.
happening in the.
Yeah.
I've been hearing news as well that it's happening in the modeling sector, like
And
in,
the modeling
with
sector.
on-cam
It's
with
everything's
on-cam
a
talents.
yeah.
The thing is, Robbie, that
Yeah.
that in my humble opinion, not having been a part of the history of this as long as you guys have, but from my point of view, this all started with the ad agencies. The ad agencies had to keep their production costs down because they were competing against other ad agencies. Same idea, but the fact that they weren't willing to pay just got reflected throughout the whole industry.
Right.
Because the ad agencies are the bread and butter of these studios and these production companies, and so it goes back one step further back than just the Rock Records in the studio. I mean,
Right.
the hit recording and those guys. It's actually the McCann Ericksons and the BBD&Os and all of those guys.
Possibly, yes. So in the grand scheme of things, this pressure to undercut everybody just to get a project has proven to show that it's only doing more harm than good. I mean, if you look at the, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the photography sector, all of a sudden anyone with a camera could become a photographer, and so the prices were going lower and lower until it became untenable for many because what they were receiving as payment couldn't even help them recoup their investments in equipment and manpower and all that kind of stuff. And so we can't allow that to happen to our industry. We've been lucky. We've been luckier than most, and a little bit more resilient as an industry. And I'm hoping that it has something to do with the rate guide as well, or maybe some of the efforts that we've put forward. Certainly, we've seen some ripple effects already, and it's good, but it's not enough. And
The
so,
fact that the production studios, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you again.
go ahead.
It's my American, whatever.
Go ahead.
The fact that the production studios have been willing to look at our rate guide and to, by and large, accept it without us having to go on strike or any of these crazy things that so often happen is amazing, and it's a big feather in your cap, Robbie, because they've been able to see your point of view or our point of view in that this not only benefits us, but it also benefits them in the long term.
Right. And the reason that I think it is the way it is because we did our research. We did a lot of digging and consulting in order to find out what were considered fair rates. We studied the history of talent fees paid over the years, dating back to like the late 90s, and discovered that the rates actually haven't really changed all that much, or even accounted for things like inflation. So we also studied the mechanisms put in place by the advertising industry with respect to royalties, lockout periods, exclusivity clauses, platforms usage, all that. And after about 2 years of information gathering, studying the rates here, and even comparing them to rates from all around the globe, things started to take shape. And after several iterations, we landed on version 2.4, which is the rate guide that's currently circulating. So a good portion of the industry is following it, thankfully. And I might be probably pulling numbers out of my ass, but with the amount of work passing through the production houses and agencies that we have partnered with, I think it's safe to say that at least 50 to 70% have adopted it to an extent. I say that parenthetically because I don't have all the data yet. But there's still quite a number of people out there who aren't aware of the rates or even want to subscribe to them. And so that, we hope you can help spread the word. Of course, going into this, we knew that there was going to be a lot of pushback. Anytime anyone tries to standardize anything, there will always be those who don't agree and will think that these rates are either too high or too low. The fact of the matter is, the rate guide, at least in its current form, was meant simply to reflect what the industry was accustomed to paying and the present rule set that they were abiding. So we had to be very careful when developing this. We didn't want to rock the boat, impose arbitrary numbers, or even our own biased opinions about what the rates should be. We simply deferred to the experts and we consolidated the data. We didn't want to shake things up too much because this was the first time that this was being attempted. And also, the advertising industry can be very rigid and conservative and traditional. And so we knew that presenting anything that deviated from the norm would simply be met with consternation and disdain and ultimately get rejected. We are aware that there are certain parties out there who do try to undercut the competition by paying talents much lower than what is reasonable, and you have to be aware of this. Granted, this happens in every industry, But we've heard too many horror stories from talents, especially new ones who might not know any better, who feel like they've been taken advantage of by certain people who may or may not be aware of that their actions are subversive and damaging to the industry as a whole. There are a lot of scammers out there as well who will lure you in with the promise of long-term work or even training, or that it'll be good for your portfolio, then brainwash you into thinking that this
Welcome to
career
the
is not
creative life.
very lucrative in order to justify their insultingly low talent fees that you're paid. So really, you have to watch out for these red flags. There are a lot of talents who unfairly compete. It's not just production houses, but even talents who unfairly compete by dropping their rates in order to win projects. Perhaps under the assumption that that's the only way they can get work, or that they're doing the client a favor, or some other well-meaning
But
reason.
yeah, but to everyone here, to supplement Robbie's point, I hope it's clear to everyone why that is in the long term very, very bad. I mean,
Right.
in the short term, the short term effects are obvious. You get the project. The long term effects is eventually clients get used to that pricing, and eventually
Right.
when you start wanting to charge higher, sasabihin lang nila is, well, you used to give it to me for this. Why not stay with this?
Yeah.
That's going to be your new ceiling. Very
Right.
dangerous.
In defense also of people who are doing this, some of them are just simply not cognizant of the industry practices and don't realize that they're causing more harm than good, right?
Yeah.
So every industry is like that. So we're no different. But can we mitigate the bad effects? We certainly hope so. And the rate guide is a step in that direction. So let's get down to brass tacks, no? The first question is, are the rates meant to be taken as gospel? What do you think?
Do we just chime in?
Yeah, go.
Uh, not well. For the most part, I do kind of take it as gospel, and we consult with you regularly, Luis and I. But I told like the clingy crew members that recently I turned down a job because it was too low. It was way below the rate guide, and I was thinking that if I take that job, it's like I'm kind of helping kill the industry in some way. So I didn't want to take it because of that. But I have taken a job that was below the rate guide,
Mhm.
but I have my exceptions to the gospel.
Okay.
Like if yun nga, if I have a contract that ensures I have a long-term job with them, that it's a recurring job, so that's in my contract.
Mm.
And also I like the project and I like the people that I'm working with.
Right.
So those are the exceptions. But this other one that I turned down, it was way too low. They weren't very professional. And it wasn't exactly a role I wanted because it went against my so-called typecast that Robbie put on me. My maternal typecast. I've been typecast as the motherly voice. And
Hey,
this one was
own that. There's so much
That's
money
not
there.
that's not necessarily a bad thing, Claire.
I
Yes.
know.
Not
Yeah,
necessarily bad.
I've had to audition for so many mom roles, but this one I got the mom role, but she was a cold-hearted bitch of a mom. So that was against my, against my typecast, and they were paying too low. And like I said, I feel like if I accept something like that without the reasons for the exceptions to the gospel, I feel like I'm hurting other voice actors out there, and I'm helping kill the industry, which I don't want because I just started. And I don't want the same thing to happen. Like Luis and I used to be photographers together, and we did it for several years until people started killing the prices. The photographers who were coming in were dropping the prices. They didn't really have talent. They were just using their high-tech cameras and whatever else to get the
Hate
job
that.
done. But
Correct.
they didn't really have talent. So they killed we stopped. We basically stopped. We couldn't be bothered anymore. So we don't want the same thing to happen to VO. So
Yeah.
that's why, I kind of think of the rate guide as a gospel.
So okay. So remember, having a camera doesn't mean you're a
You're a
photographer. Right away. And
Oh,
having a microphone doesn't
Doesn't mean
necessarily
you're-
mean you're a voice actor.
Amen to that.
Oh.
So okay,
There
so
was.
the answer, my answer to that question, should the rate guide be taken as gospel? My short answer for that is it depends. The long answer is it depends. No.
Good job, Robbie.
I, I think
uh,
the best way to I think the best way to think of the rate guide is not so much as a gospel, but more as an anchor.
Yeah,
mm,
like
right.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Think of it like an
Yeah.
anchor. Because I'm reading the chat and this we actually have some questions, Robbie, that we might want
Okay.
to answer
So yeah,
later.
we'll get to them later.
Kahit later na.
Yeah.
No,
It
no.
also makes things easier when you're negotiating with someone who calls you and says, we'd like you to try out for this or that. What's your rate? And just, to be able to tell them, well, just go by the Vocal Alliance rate guide.
Yeah.
And that makes things a lot easier.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
and actually it
Actually,
makes things a lot easier for it. It doesn't
For
just
the
make
client
things
also.
easy for the
yeah.
client and for the producers because
Yeah.
I've had conversations with producers and they're like, "Oh my gosh, buti na lang may rate guide na kayo." Because every
Yeah.
Mm.
Someone
project,
said that. Yeah. Someone said that to
yeah,
Louise also.
yeah, because exactly because before pre-rate guide, um, each project had to be the talent fee for voice talents for each individual project had to be talked over individually without any basis. So at least now producers, clients, everyone has a basis, an anchor to talk about it. And then if they think it's too high or too low, at least you already have a number, and then you can
Right.
just negotiate from there.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
when there are auditions pala that don't give a specific talent fee already and they ask for our rates, we usually attach the rate guide. And then recently someone asked me if they were allowed to forward or attach the rate guides.
To
And
the client.
I said to the
Absolutely.
clients, and I said,
Yes.
yes, we do it
Like
all the time.
For
spread it to all your
spread
contacts in Facebook, even if they're not voice talents.
it yeah, okay. So spread it like gospel.
Yes, we attach it.
And also the thing is that as you get more and more work, you'll be able to use the rate guide as a base. For example, my minimum rate is 15,000 pesos, but I will do like a couple of different things if they fall under in the rate guide. If they fall like at 10,000 pesos or something like that in the rate guide, then I might, do an extra tag or an extra something or other to give the client the idea that, they're getting their money's worth. But, as you become more experienced in the business, you'll be able to use the rate guide as a base and then negotiate up from there.
Right. Okay, so yeah, one more thing to add to my long answer is that when it comes to advertising, at least when it comes to advertising, we certainly should play by the rules, but that doesn't mean that rules aren't flexible, right? Everything is negotiable to an extent. I say that with with quotation. So if something is open to negotiation, it has to be two-way. So for example, if a client wants to lower your TF for an ad, they should be able to compromise on the length of the lockout period.
Yep.
Okay. One of the first things that you'd have to know about the rate guide is the difference between broadcast, non-broadcast, and web usage. Broadcast pertains to ads and point of sale use. I'll bring up the rate guide right now.
Yeah, it's important, but that's a very good point, Robbie. Like you have to, like you have tama yun na you have to. It has to be a two-way thing because I remember before when I used to negotiate, like I would always have this parang, oh, I don't deserve this rate. I gotta do it lower. That's the tendency of
Right.
every like creative, right? Like
Correct.
because it's really just creative work. Laway lang ang puhunan. So like you start thinking, what's the price of your laway or something like that, diba? So parang we have to recognize that there is. I hope everyone recognizes that when you're doing a voiceover, even though yes, you're just talking, you're quote unquote just talking, you are providing value.
Mm-mm.
And as every voiceover talent here knows, it's not just talking. There's a real skill involved because
It's not
if
just
it was,
laway.
it's not just laway. Kasi Because if it was, then they wouldn't need to hire. Then there wouldn't be a voiceover industry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
can
anyway,
everybody see
going to
this?
yeah.
Everybody can see the screen, naman, no?
Mhm.
So it says here, rates are simply guidelines. They may be adjustable within client's budget within reason. That's the big caveat. Free re-records up to 10 to 30% of total word count, up to 2 revisions. Mistakes means if you make a mistake, you don't charge. Okay. Home studio and production charges are included already in the rates, unless, of course, you're talking about doing a project in a studio. So rates are subject to change as the industry evolves and more information is gathered. So it's fluid. I mean, rates are going to be fluid. They will change with the times. They might go lower. They might go higher. We'll see. We are the thing that we really have to do a better job at is information gathering, and we can only do that if there are more people who give their info to us.
Yeah.
And you know, over the past 2 years, we've gathered a lot, and we thank everybody who's been instrumental in helping us develop and refine and improve the voiceover rate guide. So
Right.
anyway, when we're talking to about broadcast, we're pertaining to ads and point of sale use, right? Our rates are predicated on how the material we record is used. If it's used to sell, it carries a premium. If it's used for, say, educational or entertainment purposes, maybe less so, but that has a lot of caveats as well. So we'll discuss that later. So the reason ads carry a premium is because there's this thing called timed exclusivity, meaning you're not allowed to work on projects for competing brands for a certain amount of time, which in turn also limits the amount of income that you can generate in a particular sector of the industry. So if you do an ad for Jollibee, you can't do a McDonald's ad until the lockout is expired. So here in the Philippines, and only here in the Philippines, the lockout period for a full campaign is 15 months. When I say full campaign, you're talking about, yeah, 15 months. There are campaigns that are much shorter, and those rates fall under promo rates. So the lockout period is maybe 6 months or about 1 month. Some could even go shorter. And so as you'll see in the rate guide, so if here for a full campaign, this is what the rates are like. And then for the promo rates, they're much smaller, right?
Yeah. How do you know if it's a promo? If let's say it's a radio commercial and then at the end of the radio commercial they go promo runs until blah 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 to blah 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 2000 blah 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 per DTI,
Yeah.
that's when you know it's a promo.
Yeah, and that's usually cheaper, right?
Yeah.
So so yeah, here in the Philippines, our full campaigns are 15 months long. Everywhere else in the world, the standard is 12 months. Why? Okay. While I'm not too keen on
Oh,
this,
I'm curious about the
Because
answer
they
to this one
okay.
too.
can.
Yeah, the rule was made to encourage clients to reuse old material so that production houses and talents could have a better chance at getting more royalties. Prior to that, according to at least the production houses, the typical 12-month usage period hardly saw any clients reissue aired content, and therefore they did not get any royalties. Uh, they also extended it to give clients a little more breathing room to develop their next campaigns, which weren't always ready at the start of a new campaign period. Unfortunately, that extension didn't extend to our rates. It was meant to give clients more bang for their buck and sort of lure them into re-airing older material while they were still preparing new material, that kind of stuff, something along those lines. Anyway, those are the current rules which we have to abide. Maybe they'll change in the future, but you know, again,
Fingers crossed.
if
Robbie,
we want to make these big sweeping changes in the industry, we have to take baby steps, and that's what this whole thing is. This is a baby step.
for the sake of the newbies, can you tell us how we're supposed to, how do we find out what the lockout period is for this
All right.
spot or that spot or this promo or that promo?
So going back to the old issue that I mentioned earlier, the lack of having a contract was the cause of a lot of people not really knowing what their lockout periods were, or whatever, or even the details of their particular lockout, because lockouts, man, there are a lot of gray areas, and this is a topic that we can turn into an entire webinar altogether. So watch out for that, because it's a doozy to say the least. So anyway, going back to the rates. Now, so you have broadcast, campaign, promo, and then character. Does anybody have any questions about this? So it says here,
Yeah.
rates can differ depending on whether there is brand mention or not. No brand mention means you're not bound by the lockout. The rate may be higher depending on difficulty of the character, or lower if the character plays a comparably minor role. Does everybody understand that?
The thing is on the character thing, and I've gone over this with you before,
Yeah.
is that, you know, for some reason, characters are given less value than an announcer or whatever. And I don't understand why. I understand how that's come about, but I don't understand why we're okay with that, because a good character is something that only 1 out of 1,000 million people can do.
That's true. And in most
Yeah, that's a fair
cases,
point.
in most cases, believe it or not, it's the characters that win the awards
Yeah, yeah.
in advertising. So the character performance is what wins awards, not necessarily the. It's a convoluted mess. I'll tell you that. And there are a lot of things in the industry that just don't make sense.
I to try and answer your question.
Someone who can do a unique character really ought to be paid more than
Right.
someone else who can't do shit. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard Tito Gray that the reason, and I'm pretty sure this is not a reason that's satisfactory to you, the reason that characters are charged less is because traditionally, based on current trends, characters don't really have lockouts unless they have a product mention. So if your character goes
Or unless there's a
Jollibee,
recurring character. It's a recurring
yeah,
character.
or a recurring character. And that's another like really murky thing. So you're like a character announcer hybrid, and that's its own little thing, which is kind of crazy, which kind of blows my mind right now. But you know what I mean? Like that's the reason.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I just think that's an area we ought to, you know, highlight for future
Absolutely.
looking
Although
into.
I'll tell you that, you know, there are producers who, you know, if they have a really good character piece, and it really does sell the product, and it's vital to the campaign, then they treat it accordingly. So again, there are a lot of gray areas, but for the most part, when it comes to character, you're talking about little like bit parts. And then if you're talking about like recurring characters or something that is just vital to the brand, then there might be a different kind of compensation for that. So yeah. And then let's see. Any questions regarding this?
Oh, there are a lot of questions here on the group chat. So do
Okay.
you want to tackle some
Sure.
of them now?
Let's
Okay.
tackle them now.
Okay. From Migs with a Z. From Gino, is it normal for production houses to not dictate how much the project talent fee is for an SOA? I think he's talking about when let's say for when in the production houses that are in big circulation.
SOA,
usually
wait,
get
for
a-
everybody's information, what does SOA stand for? Does anybody know?
I don't know either.
I'm not familiar with the acronym.
Statement of account.
Statement of account. Okay, statement of account. All right.
Yeah. So yeah. To answer your question, because what they're talking to the people who may not know, what they're talking about is usually when we sign contracts, the blank that says what our fee is for that project is usually blank when we sign it, which when you think about it is kind of weird, but that's kind of how it's been, and
Although there have been changes.
there have been changes. Yes, there have been, but there has been real effort to change that.
People put
If you
estimated
Yeah,
talent fees instead.
yeah, or yeah. So one thing you can do actually, if you see that your fee is not there, or maybe even before the form comes, when you guys are, let's say the caster texts you na, can you audition for this and this role, you can actually feel free to ask up front how much the estimated talent fee is, so
Right.
at least you have a basis.
Now, what goes into a talent fee? It's not just the first recording session. Sometimes you're going to be called in to do revisions, and usually for production houses, the standard is 2 free revisions. And as voice talents who are now working from home, we've also adopted that rule to an extent. Some people might choose to just give 1 free revision. Others maybe
Two, two or three.
more, or
Yeah.
so it's really all up to you.
Again, if
Uh,
you're talking about a TV ad that's a 30-second or a 60-second ad, that's one thing. If you're talking about, a 20-minute or a 30-minute video, that's something else entirely.
yeah.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, it might, based on experience, it might be better to recalibrate the way you measure revisions if
Right.
the longer your project is, because if it's like, what if it's like a 20-minute video and then one revision is like 50% of the script? That's 10 minutes.
Correct.
That's mad. Yeah.
So yeah,
I've
we
had
have
to do the entire script again, so.
yeah, I have a
That's
project
good.
right now that's about like it's a 15-minute script, and it was just so written. It was written so poorly that I expect to have to do the entire thing all over again, and so that'll cost something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what other questions? Is it normal
Uh,
for production houses
Robbie,
not? Yeah.
what's this? Okay, for the sake of newbies like me,
Hmm.
uh, so far, before I've started any job, any recording, I always ask for a contract to protect myself and the client as well. Like
Right.
I wanted to state there like my talent fee, like how many like you said revisions,
Yeah.
and then if the duration of the contract or whatever, and then if they're paying me lower than the rate guide, no revisions unless it's my mistake, like what you advised
Yeah.
me. Very smart. But yeah, so basically my point is, it, is it advisable to do that, like for especially for newbies, that if like basically don't take anything that's just by verbal agreement, always secure a contract before starting anything or submitting anything.
Right.
or at the
That,
very least have like an email trail that you can
yeah.
follow.
That is the best practice, especially if you're dealing with direct clients.
Mm-hmm.
With the production houses, it has been an honor system for the past decade or so. uh, at least with hit productions, with Loudbox, with because these guys with sound design, they pretty much command around 70% of all advertising, just so you know. So if you want to get into advertising, you have to work for them. That's where the big money is, right? Yes, we're trying to make contracts a mandate, and hopefully when this whole thing ends, this whole COVID situation ends, we'll see some changes. Right now, they're they're also at least toying with the idea of contracts that we can sign digitally.
I have a question
Hmm.
and a statement. First, I want to say that while we're discussing this idea of negotiations, negotiating for a payment amount or whatever have you, one other thing you might definitely want to ask. I was shocked when I found out that if I do a job for HIT or for another production house, I would not be paid for up to a year.
Yeah,
I
I've heard that.
was absolutely shocked. So you
That's
want to
not the
find
norm,
out.
though. That's
Okay,
not the
well,
norm.
you want to find out when you're going to get paid. I usually try to negotiate when I'm finished with the project, I get paid. That's what I try to negotiate. Now, so that's that. The other thing is, somebody here asked a question. Hera asked a question. If the ad is 1 minute long, but your voice is only 30 seconds, do you get paid for the 1 minute or for the 30 seconds? Now, my experience in the States was that you'd be paid for the whole minute, but I don't know how it works here.
Okay, so the rule is for advertising, it's total running time. You get paid for total running time, not the total number of words. Segue into the difference between broadcast and non-broadcast. When you're talking about broadcast, the rate is based on total running time. So even if you have just a small portion, you should be paid for the entire running time, because as the length of commercials, as they get longer, the budget for those commercials also, like, not exponentially, but they proportionally get bigger, because I think airtime that they buy also increases in that capacity. So the rule has always been, for advertising, it's total running time. For non-broadcast, when you're talking about like corporate events or corporate videos, internal stuff, it's number of words. Okay, so you base your rate on the number of words.
Can I have a follow-up to that question?
Sure, go ahead.
If like in the ad, what you did was like a character voice, like dubbing the voice of the actor, and it's like a group of actors in the whole ad, and you only had like 2 lines for that one character, so it's maybe just like 5-7 seconds,
Right.
10 seconds. Do you also just charge? Do you charge for the whole ad?
Well, if
as
it's a
well?
character, you're only going to get the character rates.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a difference between character and then the main or announcer or VO. There is more weight put on the announcer because that is inextricably linked to brand identity. So that it carries with it more value. Essentially, that's the explanation, right? Now, a lot of people don't understand this. There are a lot of people also they're producers. There are even production companies that don't understand the rule of total running time. So yes, in the past, a lot of production houses were not budgeting properly because they thought, oh, it's just saying like a few lines. There is also, I want to qualify that though with something called mnemonics. Okay, mnemonics are stuff like Unilabian, or like the slogan of a particular company. That has its own price. So that's something that we should actually include in the next iteration of the rate guide. So
does that mean something like a company slogan?
Yes, yeah, so something like that.
But and
That
also
they
it
use
doesn't.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing people also have to understand is when it comes to voiceover, you're not getting really paid for the amount of words you're saying. You're actually getting paid more for the lockout. Okay, that is the priority. It's the usage. It's how long you're going to be locked out of a certain category or product or service. The reason why they don't understand it is because they're looking only at the words, but they're not really paying attention to the usage. And this is another reason why here in the Philippines, we really have to start changing the way clients see our rates. In the States, in every other country, there are 2 rates. One is the session fee, which is the fee that they pay for the actual recording. And then the other one is the usage rate, which of course, I mean, it's going to be much larger depending on how long the campaign is, on how many platforms it's going to be on, the ad is going to be on, and all that. And because there's a demarcation, because it's separated, it's easier for clients to understand what they're actually paying for. If we're able to do this here in the Philippines,
That would make things a lot clearer.
it
That
will
would
make
make
a lot,
everything a lot
yes.
clearer.
And they won't even give a second glance at the whole, oh, he's only saying 3 lines.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
to add, yeah.
Before
Go ahead,
we
Tito Ray.
before we get off of this subject, Hara brought up one interesting idea, and that is that she said that she's dubbing some character lines in a commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the commercial was done in English somewhere else, and then she's dubbing some lines in Tagalog or something like that.
Right.
What does that fall under? Does that fall under the
Character.
It
dubbing
falls
rate?
under character.
It
fa-
falls under character.
Yeah, it still falls under character unless you're doing the announcer part as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, is that clear for everybody? The difference between a broadcast and non-broadcast? Yeah. I'm sure more issues will pop up later on.
Yeah.
We'll just let them emerge.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of questions here, Robbie. Maybe it's
Okay.
best if you just go through what your presentation is, and then let's just tackle the questions one at a time. Keep the
Okay.
questions coming, friends.
Yes, please. Okay, one more thing I want to address, which is the other elephant in the room, is newbie rates. This is something that's on a lot of people's minds. So what should newbies charge? Okay, so my stance on this is very simple. Newbies deserve the same rates as anyone else. Okay, plain and simple. If you're chosen for a project, that means the client believes in that you have what it takes to do it. Whether or not that's true will be subject to further evaluation, but if you nab the audition, that means you pass at least the initial test. If you charge lower than everyone else, well, first, you're shortchanging yourself.
And everybody
Second,
else.
yeah. Second, yeah, you're putting out a message that you can only provide a lower quality or cheaper product. Now, there are certainly clients out there who could care less about quality and will simply hire you based on price. But let me tell you, you'll be fighting a losing battle pretty soon, because those clients will end up using AI or virtual voices instead because it's even cheaper. There's this unwarranted notion that if you're a newbie, by default, your skill levels aren't up to snuff, and that the only way to get a job is to undercut everyone else.
You haven't proven yourself yet.
Yeah. But that can't be further from the truth. We've all seen newbies who are even better than some veterans, out of the gate, who have been, better than veterans who've been doing this for far, far longer. Some people just have the talent. It just clicks. Is she here? Is like Sevi, for example? Is she here? Did she,
No, I don't think
she's
so.
not here. I would have wanted to make a.
I knew you would have. I knew you were gonna mention Sevi.
Yeah, she's incredible, but she's only been doing this for like 5 months. She has no background in. She has no foundation in acting and theater, but when she reads, oh my God, it's beautiful. So you can never underestimate a newbie. Some people just have a knack for it.
The other side of this also, if you forgive me for interrupting again, I'm sorry. But the other side of this is that as you get experience and as you get to the place where you're like Robbie or RJ or Jonah or somebody else that has, the chops and the experience, you can then negotiate higher rates. But
Right.
start along
Yeah.
with everything else.
But
Yeah.
I guess, Robbie, now that you've said all that, I think the question becomes, what can newbies do?
Okay.
Yeah, can I start with one thing that they can do? Okay. One thing that you can do if you're a newbie, and yes, you're gonna charge these same rates. Maybe what you can do, I think really the only like the only tangible difference between a newbie and a veteran is that the veteran has a longer portfolio. So
Yeah.
so what you can do is that one thing you can do is, okay, you're not getting, yeah, let's say the problem is, okay, you're not passing auditions. So that means you're not able to, cause wala kang malako na product of yours, of your voice. What you can do is you can start, playing around. Maybe you can get a commercial, and then you can record your version of that commercial or something like that.
Right.
So there, and then that way you have something to, you have a product, you have a tangible thing that people can hold
Yeah.
and listen to.
And yeah, don't even get me started on the self-esteem issues that inevitably arise from the practice of undercutting. I mean, this only does more harm to people, because there's this notion that, oh, I'm not good enough, so this is all I'm going to charge, and that weighs heavily on people's self-esteem and prevents them from actually getting better and charging higher and charging what they deserve.
And as Jonah says, there are, through Vocal Alliance and through people like Dave, you can attend, classes where you can learn
Right.
to improve your talent.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to improve your skills, then just simply train. We've been offering our services to help train people become better voice talents. Just join them, just join a workout or a workshop. Yeah, the lessons that you may learn will make you not just a better voice talent, but a better person overall. And the reason why the vets are so willing to
Wow.
train is because we know that it's this that will help our industry grow and improve. We all want the Philippines to be world class and make its mark on the VO map. Why? Because we want to be globally competitive. It opens up more possibilities. Video games, anime, audiobooks, all the other stuff that we're not privy to right now, or at least we're to a
Still on the
limited
outside.
to a limited degree.
The point is, yeah, the point is, the better the pool is in aggregate, the more likely clients will go, oh, 12,000 for a 30-second commercial. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that there's a market for everyone. It doesn't mean that if you're a veteran, you're automatically better than a newbie. That's so far from the truth. There are so many veterans out there who are so bad. They're still, even if they've been doing this for years. I won't name names.
Now you're treading on shaky ground.
I won't name names, but
Wait,
people who have
wait,
been.
when we audition, we don't go, I'm a veteran, I'm a newbie. And to be honest, my first job, I beat out a veteran. And
Correct.
the people who hired me
Dead
said
mode.
I was a pro, and they had no idea it was my first job. I didn't even have a demo reel. And the one I beat out, her portfolio is really long. I checked her
every-
out, and I was like,
Yes, absolutely right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all competing on a level playing field. That's the God honest truth. It doesn't mean that because my voice is deeper or more resonant than the next guy, that means shit. That doesn't mean it's.
It could also be a measure of it could also be a measure, maybe not so much of voice quality. It could also be a measure of personality. So
Yeah.
yeah,
like
exactly.
in my personal experience, like I have friends, like I can name probably like 4 or 5 people. Nakaboses ko.
Yeah.
But we get different commercials because we have different
Yeah.
personalities.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're still not confident enough, at the very least, try not to deviate too far. Try not to stray too far from the standard rates. You might just surprise yourselves. The thing about being a voiceover is that this is such an esoteric. It's such an inscrutable craft. Your years of experience won't necessarily mean anything to some clients. They might choose a talent based on some of the most frivolous things, and so in a sense, whether or not you're a newbie or a vet, like I said, you're competing on a level playing field. There's no real need to drop prices. Of course, I'm not discounting the fact that there are clients who have more discerning tastes, and usually it's the bigger brands. So if you want to compete in that arena, then of course you have to become a better talent who can get the job done efficiently and to the satisfaction of the client. Now, like I said earlier, I believe there is a market for everyone. The talent pool here in the Philippines is very small, and there's a bigger proportion of jobs out there. Believe it or not, you just have to know where to look.
Where?
Okay. Yeah, because I
Tell
mean,
us.
everybody's thinking, oh, it's just advertising. It's just that's advertising comprises like a small chunk of what a voice talent will be making. You there's so many different companies that you can do work for.
Yeah, there's
Corporate.
lots of there's corporate,
That's where
there's
the
live
money is.
VO.
Corporate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to work for corporate, you have to mold yourself to be a voice that can represent the company. Okay, and you do that by showing off your personality and making sure that you're aligned with their values, or that you can represent them, or project the same kind of image as they do. And you have to be malleable, you have to be flexible, you have to be versatile, you have to be able to change your personality on a dime, and conform to different kinds of archetypes. So, and you do that through practice and experience and learning from other people in the industry. And we're very willing to help you guys out, because the long-term effect is this whole industry rises together. It's like the saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. I really honestly truly believe that.
I think a lot of people look at our willingness to help, to give you instruction and help you to become more and more professional, as why would you shoot yourself in the foot? Why would you make it so that I'm as good or better than you? Because then I might be getting the work that you would be getting. But as Robbie says, it's really good for the whole industry, and there's room for everybody.
Yes, there is room for. Okay, just so you understand, like, okay, we have about like 1,700 members right now in the group. In one city in the United States, they have 3,000, all vying for the same project, all vying for the same job. Here, there's so many different companies that we can reach out to. There is a dearth of talents, actually. So it's really all about putting yourself out there and reaching out to different clients, and the I don't know if this is really part of this. We'll probably do this in another webinar, but the way to make money in this business is to find the clients that you can work well with, okay, and that you can stay for a long time with, that keep getting you for repeat business, and then you develop relationships with them, and you become their voice, and they stick to you for years upon years.
Yep.
And yeah, so I mean, like I have my own clientele. I'm not very competitive on the VO landscape right now, because I have some people who can help me stay stable. Okay, having more clients, of course, is always good. So there's that need to fill up that funnel, the sales funnel, kumbaga, if you're talking in business terms.
I wanted to just preface that by saying that if you do get good enough that you can keep me and Robbie and RJ and Jonah and people like us out of work, then we will stop teaching.
Yeah, but that's never been the case. So I mean, we're happy to share whatever info we can. I take lessons from coaches in the United States, under the GVAA, under even Gravy for the Brain. If you're not familiar, that's another website that you all should definitely check out and subscribe to if you can plunk down maybe 25 pounds a month for it. There's so many things that you can learn there. We'll teach whatever we can, and in a way that is more relatable, because I mean we're in the Philippines, but definitely, I mean, go out there and learn. There's so many great resources out there.
YouTube is your friend.
Yeah, YouTube even.
So
Okay.
so in conclusion, so wait, we've so in conclusion, no, we don't think you have to lower your rates. If the problem is you don't have a portfolio, it's easy to build one. When there's
Right.
a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And don't shortchange yourselves.
Okay.
Believe.
Yeah.
You're
Also,
special.
Mac is asking if a radio announcer can be considered a voiceover talent or actor.
Okay.
The answer
Yeah.
is yes.
I started as a radio announcer. I was a
So did I.
DJ for 99.5, and Gray is as well. I know we have some other DJs here also in the crowd. It's a very viable way. It's a good takeoff point. It's a good like launch pad for a career in VO. However,
Yeah.
one warning that I can give is you've got to drop the announcer.
You have to be more in a. The danger there is your muscle memory might become pegged to that. That's easy. I mean, and it's not impossible to get out of it because everyone has that. So it just means that you're gonna need to do a little more work. But
There are
in
people
terms-
that get into radio, and that's all they can really do. They always talk like that. You always hear them talking like that, no matter who they're talking to.
in which case,
But-
stay in radio forever.
Yeah.
No, okay. So the trick to being a solid voice talent is just simply being able to be authentic. That's what producers and clients are looking for, just authenticity. So if you aren't trained to sound conversational or casual or any other delivery style akin to that, then it's best to practice and learn the modalities and learn the mechanisms, the mechanics of conversational speech. You already can do it, because if you speak like that in real life, it's just all about turning that switch on. But a lot of people don't know how to do that, and so sometimes it has to be inculcated again. And so our workshops are designed to help you. It's a safe space for all of you to make your mistakes and learn from them. So yeah, that's definitely something that you could try and attend sometime in the future. I just want to make I just realized I didn't make a shout out to the Clingy crew.
Yes. Oh yeah.
We
The
have
Clingy crew.
Okay.
A lot of us are here.
Yes, Luis, why don't you or Claire, why don't you guys
Naging
explain?
recruitment plat.
Yeah,
Naging
no, why don't you guys-
recruitment platform. to eh.
Why don't you guys explain why you're called the Clingy crew?
Why we're the Clingy crew?
Yeah.
Well, it started out actually from official Vocal Alliance workout. And then I think Robbie wasn't available one time. So Jarek, Luis, and a bunch of others who wanted to do a workout that Saturday made a rogue trip, like a rogue workout. And then after that,
We did it for a few weeks.
yeah, they did it for a couple of weeks. And then after that, there was a workout with Robbie and nobody wanted to leave. And then there was like 5 of us left. We didn't end until like 2:30 in the morning. And someone said, oh my
6
gosh, we're
hours,
clingy.
7 hours.
Yeah, we're clingy AF. So we're like, oh, clingy. Then the next day, the group chat Clingy Crew was born. And then eventually we have a logo now. We have our own group page from like just less than 20 people. There are 40 members now. People are asking to join it.
Yeah.
Like Robbie got sucked in, Jonah got sucked in, Dave got sucked in. A lot of people got sucked in. And what
They
I
practice
think
every day.
There's
They
a lot of
practice
sucking
almost
happening.
every day.
Nobody
yeah, we
sucked
have-
me.
Robbie was supposed to do it.
thought
Robbie
Robbie
was
was
a lot of
No,
supposed
you're
sucking
to do it.
already
happening in
there,
Clingy
aren't
Crew.
you?
Tito
No,
Gray,
he
let's
didn't
talk
add
later.
him. But anyway,
You're already
so
there.
yeah, we
I don't
have
think so.
like
I've never been there. I mean, I was in that extra long session, but I never got sucked
oh,
in.
you'll get invited.
Glad you-
Okay, you better invite him. Anyway, so yeah, so
Here
now
we
we
go.
have a group. We have a private group, and we have like we have a permalink So anybody can just go in and out of a Zoom thing. We have a permalink that's 24/7 open. Thanks to Nathania. I think she's here somewhere.
Sponsored
And
by
then we have
Nathania.
every
Shout out to
morning,
Nathania.
Jeric has a Dance Central. So we're like this really clingy group of people. So we have Dance Central in the morning. Saturdays we have D&D. We have
D&D fun.
Jackbox night.
Oh, wow.
We haven't scheduled that.
See,
We
so
have,
so yeah, it's such a tight knit group, and I think the biggest takeaway here is they saw the efficacy of
the workout.
practicing of doing via workouts, and they took it and ran, and I'm so proud of you guys. Super proud of you guys.
Most of us are newbies, and
Yes.
basically it's like we're hungry for feedback
And you're getting
from
results.
our peers.
You're bagging
We're
auditions.
getting results.
Yes.
And it's amazing because a lot of people at the beginning were too scared to audition for anything because they don't have any demos or anything. But now a lot of them are auditioning. It's so amazing. But
So you're paving the way.
What we really like about Clingy Crew and actually Vocal Alliance is it's amazing how in this industry people aren't dragging each other down. Basically, everyone like Tito Gray, Jonah, Robbie, Dave are so willing to help newbies out. So the newbies get encouraged and inspired to do better and become better because we're getting help from veterans who have so much experience. And even in Clingy Crew, a lot of the young ones, we have members that are like 18 years old. They are so like inspired because we are so willing to help each other. We share auditions. We don't keep them from it. We share it if we think one of our members is good for this, or we tag them and everything. So we're very helpful, actually.
Yeah.
We're very nice.
It's basically community over competition. That's the value.
Actually, to be honest, Robbie, it's Vocal Alliance on steroids.
Yeah, it's Vocal Alliance on drugs.
That's what it is.
on Adderall.
It's Vocal Alliance
Vocal
with
Alliance on
coffee.
Adderall, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry to be the. Robbie, how much more is
Okay.
longer
No, yeah,
is
let's
Mas
okay.
marami
Let's,
tayong questions eh.
Let's go back
Yes.
to the
I want,
race.
let's
Go
try.
ahead.
Let's try to.
We have at least 3 more questions up on the line, but you guys can keep asking.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Feel
Go
free
ahead.
to ask.
Ask any questions you want.
Yeah. Let's keep this moving so that we have time to really focus on the questions.
All right. So, does anybody have questions about broadcast?
No.
Okay. A point of sale, just so that everybody knows, it's grocery stores, gas stations, retail stores where a video promoting a specific product is being shown. This is not referred to like voiceover for automated checkouts. Okay. So these take on TV broadcast rates. That's basically been the rule ever since. Okay.
Follow-up question, Robbie.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about for the on-store radio, like National
Okay.
Bookstore Radio?
Okay, in-store
that's a
radio,
good
that's over here. So let's get to that. Where are you? This is in others. So we don't have a lot of
There.
information. Okay, so let's talk about this for a bit. Per spot, they can go from 1.5 to 3,000. Sometimes people get, or actually most of the time, people get a monthly retainer. So in-store radios, the reason why they're much lower is because you're basically an in-house talent. So they get you for multiple projects, so multiple ads that are only going to be featured inside like a chain of stores.
You have a much smaller audience too.
So yeah, it is sort of like it's not necessarily. I still think it's broadcast to be quite honest. But the practice here in the Philippines has been the default has always been a low rate. It started this way, and so maybe sometime in the future we can challenge it. But like I said, we're when we made this rate guide, we only wanted to reflect what
the current trend, the current landscape. We were trying to just reflect it so that it's written down.
Yeah.
Because that in itself is already a big step.
I definitely don't agree to this. I think it should be higher, especially if you're talking about stores that have hundreds of chains, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a chain that has hundreds of stores, for example.
Yeah, iba pa yun.
Yeah.
That's another thing that you have to negotiate.
Yeah. And
Pati
the
tayo
thing
dito, may
is,
mga gusto sumali sa clingy crew.
yeah, okay. And so and the thing with in-store radio is they also make you and this is the reason why I don't agree to these rates. Uh, they make you exclusive only to that particular brand, and so you can't do competing. You can't work for competing brands for
Competing
ads
stores?
or anything else. So
Competing stores?
yeah, yeah. So you
Like
can't do
like if you're doing Uniqlo, you can't do H&M.
yeah. So if you're doing Watsons, if you're the voice of Watsons, that means you can't do a mercury
Generica
drug
pharmacy.
ad. That'll show on TV, and
Wait,
that's really unfair.
Oh,
Wait, a
Yeah, that's
mercury
really
drug
unfair.
ad?
Yeah, you can't do a mercury drug ad if
Iba
you're
na yun,
doing
usapan yun.
that's why I don't agree to this, but that's basically what the current practice is. Again, sometime in the future, we hope to challenge it, but or at least remove that lockout, remove that exclusivity clause. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, let's go back up here. Yeah, because we still have a lot of ground to cover. Radio is just it's just a little bit lower than TV. Rates have historically been about 5,000 pesos lower. Generally. Okay, so what else? Web usage. This is where things get a little bit
Wonky.
gray. Okay, so when you're talking about commercials, they follow the same rates as TV. Okay, so if you're doing a digital ad that comes out as paid placement, pre-roll, mid-roll, or anything like that, like on YouTube or any other platform, you should be getting ad rates because it also comes with a lockout clause. So these are the rates that we landed on. So very similar to, or actually exactly the same as TV rates. And then you have something called external below the line or non-commercial. This is for company website, product, instructional, or informational videos. This should not be boosted. If it's boosted, like say on Facebook, for example, what you're going to take on are promo rates, because sometimes when something is boosted on Facebook, it's only going to be for a short duration. I don't know of any companies that have had like full-on 15-month campaigns just for.
I don't think that makes sense I don't think that makes sense on the
Facebook.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tama ba, Robbie? Like for example, if let's say, okay, what happens if let's say they put it on the website, they put it on, let's say, their Facebook page, and they boost it? What is that? How do you price that? How would one price that?
No, then you go to the promo rates.
So
you
it's
can start
so
at
it's
promo rates, yeah.
So it's web usage plus promo rate?
No. Essentially, if it's going to be used as an ad, okay, or boosted, or sponsored, you can already waive the other, because it's still the same platform. It's on the web, right?
Yeah.
So you don't. We treat each platform as, okay, web, radio, and TV. So just because something appears on a website and on Facebook, that's still web. That's still considered web. So you just take. So the best way to go is to take on promo rates if it's boosted, and if a campaign is much longer than that, then maybe, but it's rare. Take on the typical ad rates.
That to my mind, that seems very murky. I think that's something we need to.
Well, it's in its infancy. The whole web thing is in its infancy, and in this instance, we're on the same par almost as the rest of the world, because on the one hand, you need to make everybody happy, and you want to get stuff out on the web, but on the other hand, you have to also remember that all of a sudden, it's no longer a local audience that you're appealing to. You may be appealing to the entire world. On
So
something.
yeah. So this usage license, 15-month period after which this is only for things that actually take on those longer campaigns. So, but again, very rare, very rare. But the point is, as long as because when it's boosted, there is a lockout that is attached to that. Okay, so anytime that there is a lockout, then you take on ad rates. Whether that might be the campaign or promo rates, you have to establish that with the client. You have to ask for the length of the campaign period. Okay, and we'll go into that a little later on when we look at how to quote properly.
What is the line?
What do you mean?
It says below the line.
Below that's an advertising term.
Yeah.
Above the line is you. Above the line are billboards,
Yeah.
TV,
TVCs, yeah,
radio,
that kind of
basically everything that's not on the internet. And
Yes.
below the line is everything that's on the internet.
I see.
Yes, and not just that. What else is below the line? Certain kinds of events, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so social media. So Facebook, Instagram, they're basically the same. So no other web usage included, no paid placement, only to be used for company social media channels, may be used as an add-on
Add-on to TV
or
broadcast.
TV
yes.
broadcast buys. Okay, so these are the rates for that. Again, usage license, you don't really have to worry about this too much if it's non-paid. But the moment that they turn it into a paid placement, that's when it takes on ad rates, and that could be something that is added somewhere down the line. So, for example, a client will say, "Oh, we're just gonna post it on our social media page." That's it. And then somewhere down the line, they say, "You know what? This is actually going to be a really good sponsored post." And so the danger really is you not being aware that
Yeah, they won't tell you.
they switch gears. And that's why if you look at the difference between web usage rates and non-broadcast rates, there is a bit of a divide. There's a bump in the
Cost,
amount,
in price, yeah.
which is supposed to
Mitigate that. Parang
it's supposed to make up for, it's like insurance basically, okay, in case they use it as an ad in the future. So that's why web, at least for now, it's because it's such a gray area, things have to be priced this way. You have to account for the possibility of them using it as a sponsored post in the future.
yeah.
Because there are a lot of clients out there who are devious like that.
You can
No.
the one way to mitigate that uncertainty is when you're negotiating, ask up front. Do they plan to do this as sponsored post? And if they're not sure, if they're going to do it, then just charge as if it's
Yeah.
as if they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, but again, when there is an exclusivity clause that comes into play, that's when it requires a premium. Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay. Any questions about this? Is this clear so far?
Just post it on the chat.
Right.
Just
Okay.
post it on the chat.
Paid placement. So this one, whenever there's paid placement, you just go back to commercial use. Okay. Explainers. Now, here's a thing that a lot of people don't understand. Explainer videos are no more than 90 seconds long. The real explainers. A lot of people conflate explainers with corporate narration. In the strictest sense of the word, as at least the way it was designed, an explainer is really strictly only 90 seconds long or less. Are public facing that educate consumers and focus on explaining a business idea. The content may be an explanation of what a specific product is or how a service works. There are clients that follow this rule, and then there are others that aren't aware. So the best way to tackle this is, if anything is longer than 90 seconds, don't consider it an explainer. Because an explainer, sometimes it does carry a lockout period. and which is why we say, you know, the usage license should be 2 to 5 years. If that expires, then you're supposed to get a like royalties. But the thing here in the Philippines is it's very hard to monitor this kind of thing. So I don't know exactly how we're going to implement these royalties, but these are the rules everywhere else. So these are things that we have to conform to as well moving forward. And so that's why this is here. Okay.
All right.
Now, okay,
Non-broadcast.
non-broadcast. So you have corporate, internal, and industrial. So this is usually just for single video usage only, does not include TV broadcast or any additional internet or web advertisement usage. Industrial can command higher rates based on complexity of industry or subject matter. So people who do,
Let's say
for
medicine,
example,
super long
medical.
names.
Yeah, if people do medical narration, that actually carries a premium. We don't follow that too much here, although we should. Industrial also, if you're, especially when you're talking about like certain kinds of compounds that are used in creating the cement of this thing that was used in, and it's really technical. It's very hard to do.
Esoteric words.
Yes, very hard to. It's very, if you're not familiar with the subject matter, it's very hard to make it sound natural, right? Yeah. Live shows and events. Right now, all live shows and events are done online. Does that mean that they take on web rates? No. We treat them as such, as live shows and events. It just so happens that because of the current situation, they have no choice but to put it online. That's the concession that we have to make. So just because an event is online, it doesn't mean that you have to charge them web rates, because for the most part, that feed is only going to be airing once, and then they'll take it off, or it's there for posterity.
No one really goes back to it.
Yeah, and doing a live event online does not mean that you have a lockout. So that's why they're cheaper. Okay, it might seem like, wow, the initial buy-in for a 1 minuter is 10,000, but as you can see, as the length of your material increases, your price starts to diminish proportionally. In other words, your profit ratio is higher with shorter material compared to longer material.
The price per word goes down?
Yeah.
Basically, Robbie, the way I computed this once, it starts out at 5,000 per minute.
Right.
To down to less than 1,000 per minute.
Yeah. Now the initial buy-in is high because, well, that's been the industry standard. If you want to charge lower, again, it's got to be a two-way thing. You got to tell them, oh, sige, if you only have a budget for like say 8,000 or something like that, or even 5,000, no revisions. Okay, just give me the final script and then pay after. That's how you're supposed to negotiate.
Now, on a live show or event, Robbie, if you're actually at the show doing the announcing for the event, are you supposed to be paid on the scene?
Yes. Ideally, you should be, or within like a couple of weeks at most.
Yeah.
But yeah, for live shows, usually you get paid right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
So when you're doing it online, how do you work that?
Bank transfer.
Bank transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, bank transfers.
Okay. So
cool.
So people really don't have any excuse anymore. My pen ran out of ink, so I couldn't sign the check.
Or wala si guy who's supposed to do the approval process.
Yeah. They're online, so that means they have access to the banks, which are online as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's another thing. Here's another thing that we can cover. What if a client gives you like 5 scripts? Are you going to charge them 10,000 pesos each for each 1 minute script? Not necessarily. You can make it so that it seems more economical. Yeah.
Yeah, economical. Sorry.
More. You can give them more value, more bang for their buck by packaging the rates for much lower. Okay, but if it's single use only, then these are the rates. These are fair rates to give.
Kumbaga wholesale. Kumbaga it's the wholesale, the
correct.
wholesale logic.
So the more
Funny you
scripts there
said
are,
that.
yeah, go ahead.
Because a potential client of mine asked me would I be giving discounts, and instead of like giving the person like because it was going to be an ongoing deal for a e-learning material, right? So instead of lowering my rate, what I did was I gave her three what do you call this? 3 readings or 3 script readings for a little less than what she would normally pay if she was just going to buy one.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's what I did.
Yeah, definitely employ that tactic, because I mean, it shows also that we're willing to negotiate, we're flexible, and the fact of the matter is you're going to get a good deal anyway for like 3 or 4 or 5 even 2-minute scripts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's So and that way you get to develop a relationship with the client a little bit more, because the sad projects are the ones that are, fly by night, one project only, and then they forget about you.
And,
But
and
if you
another
can,
sorry, keep going, Robbie.
if you can get projects that have multiple scripts, try as much as you can to do that, because one, a client may in fact get so accustomed to your voice that they don't want to hear any other voices anymore.
Yep.
And they'll just keep getting you for everything.
That's the reason why brands usually get the same voiceover. It's because it becomes part of, if you play your cards right and you do really well, it becomes part of their identity.
Yeah.
Your delivery becomes a part of their identity, which explains lockouts.
Yeah. So does this rule apply also to advertising? Absolutely. Okay. We don't tell people how to package their, like we don't say, if it's 5 minus 30%, you give them a 30% discount or anything like that. If it's 5 scripts, that's up to you to negotiate. In advertising, with the production houses at least, we also leave it up to them. But of course, we always want to make sure that it's reasonable, diba? Kasi there are times when, they make you do 3 different versions, but they're only paying for 1. So those are the things that, oh wait, hold on, we can't. That's not fair anymore. At least for 2, I'll give the third one for free.
Yeah, this is the part where judgment and common sense come into play, because there's no way any rate guide can police all that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
We leave all of that up to you. Yeah. But at least for the one-time deals, then this is definitely a good basis, no? Kiosk use. For the sake of full disclosure, there were rates for certain usage categories that that couldn't be accounted for. Take kiosk use, for example, or non-paid digital placement that we had to extrapolate from known rate conventions, because there wasn't really a lot of information to go by out there. So kiosk use was a little uncommon, and anything web related still had like vague rules. And so we really had to negotiate some of these rates. For kiosk use, in the States, they have their own rule set. This is something similar. Pre-COVID, this was already starting to pick up, but who knows what it's going to be like in the future. And by the way, this is a full buyout, but it doesn't mean that you're locked to the product. Okay, it just means that they can use it as long as they like, in different events,
it's
wherever
theirs.
Yeah, wherever they bring the kiosk, because that's really something we can't monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, airport announcement.
Oh yeah. So lobby viewing, a video explainer about the service provider, not selling a specific product, selling. So yeah. So these are explainer types. This is what it's going to cost. Airport announcement. What else? Do we have any other questions so far?
We have a lot of questions, bro.
Okay.
Let's just keep going.
Okay. Let's just. The rest are pretty self-explanatory. So just go through them on your own. Let's talk about. Yeah, we already discussed in-store radio, video games. This one is not necessarily set in stone, but these are rates that are a little, they're under what you would get in the US. When we created the rate guide, we also wanted to, and after all, you're really only getting jobs from video game developers in the US or maybe in other countries. But you don't see a lot of that here unless you're like Hara Velasquez. Come on. Are you here? Are you still here, Hara?
Yes, I'm still here.
You made her
Yeah.
gush, man.
Yeah. So
Well deserved.
again, super. We're so proud of you. Okay, so mobile game apps. Here's another thing that is still.
An enemy has been slain.
Yeah, well, there's still the jury is still out on, especially like not just mobile game apps, but mobile apps in general that have maybe a recorded voice doing the tutorial or something along those lines. We need more information.
Yeah. So if you guys have data, like if you get hired for these kinds of rates, feel free to share it with us because this will help improve the rate guide, and hopefully version 3 is much more comprehensive.
If I may,
Go ahead.
about video games and like animation, there's a rate guide by a group called the Voice Acting Club. It's
right.
It's like created by Kira Buckland, an American voice actress.
Okay.
She has a standardized like rate for indie work.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, please share it with us
Yes,
so we can
please share it with
incorporate
us.
it as well, or at least put a link so that people can easily find it.
Well,
Yeah.
Indie work, eh. No? Depende sa ano. Depende sa ano mo. Depende sa sa accounting.
What's the joke about mga indie movies? Why is it called indie? Kasi indie kumikita. not so for
Art,
for
bro,
video
art.
games, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunately.
Yeah.
If you can make an indie game, there's a good chance that you can make money off of it. Okay, so imaging station voice. Okay, that's basically what I do for a living. I mean, with Nickelodeon. So this is something similar to what I would get, and based on some of the information that we got from other people who do imaging, it's pretty much the same. RJ, tama no?
Yeah.
And Zan,
Yeah, that's right.
it's within the ballpark.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
animatics.
right.
What are animatics? Okay, so you have studies, unaired material. So these are things that ad agencies use to pitch.
Basically they are
Make
they are
an
first
ad, yeah.
drafts.
Yeah,
So
correct.
sa commercials, in commercials, before it becomes the final product that we see on TV or YouTube, they start out first. So animatics they start out as drawings, and then they
Yeah.
just add voiceover to it.
Yeah.
Just to give the client the
Idea.
client and an idea.
Or
So it's like a storyboard,
Right.
Yeah.
animated
much.
storyboard.
And if it gets finalized, then that means you get the full amount.
That's you need to get the full amount.
Okay. Additional loadings, script revisions. For production houses, minor revisions up to 30% of the original script are allowed up to 2 times. Third callback entails an additional cost. While uncommon if the booking is more than 30 days old, the original category booking rate applies for the total number of words needed to be recorded only. Does that make sense to everybody? So not the total of the entire script. Okay. Okay, so, or the project can be treated as a derivative, depending on negotiations. What's a derivative? So let's go to, first of all, before we go into that,
Man, that's a lot of
this is
stuff.
this is something that you can use if there are additional word changes after the second revision or after the first revision. So this is something that you can use to charge for the script changes. Okay.
Yeah, or so wait, like if for example, if they let's say the original AVP was like 500 words, and then they suddenly added 200 more. You can
Yeah.
use this?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So that's one thing actually that That's one thing actually that we should keep an eye on, because a lot of there. That's also another way that that's also another way that clients can be very let's say shrewd.
Right.
Uh,
Correct.
yeah, that they can start out with they can start out with an initial length, and then their revisions make the script actually longer. You have to look
Yeah.
out for that.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
have to charge accordingly. Okay.
Yes, charge accordingly,
Um,
because it's only fair.
yes. Okay. So for material airing in other countries, it's plus 50% of the initial fee for every additional country, or can be packaged for a lower price if there are multiple countries. So in other words, if your ad airs here in the Philippines and then it also airs in, say, Singapore, if it's a 30-second commercial, so let's go back up to broadcast. So say it's airing here, so you get 20,000 pesos, and then it also airs in Singapore, it's plus 50% of that 20,000 pesos, or 10,000 pesos. So that's an additional 10,000 pesos, so you get 30,000 pesos all in all. Okay. Now, if there are multiple countries, if it shows throughout a region, then this is where they start packaging for much less. So
Yeah.
sometimes they'll only account for maybe 2 additional countries, and there are 5 countries, something like that, just to make it more, I don't know if that's reasonable, but anyway, uh, that's something that the production houses do to just make it more economical, also for the client, to make it more reasonable for the client. You don't want to alienate your clients by giving them an exorbitant amount. No. Okay, going back. I forgot to put it here also. If it's airing on multiple platforms, so for example, radio, TV, and online, what you do is you get the mother ad, which is the basis, okay, which is usually TV, and then you add 50% of the length of that commercial, the 50% of the value of that length. Sorry, I know it sounds confusing.
Are we talking about edit downs?
No. We're still talking about multiple platforms. So
Multiple platforms.
yeah, so if an ad airs on multiple platforms, you get 50% of how much it costs on that platform. Gets? So
Yeah.
going back, if for example, let's go back to broadcast. If you're doing a 30-second commercial, okay, that appears on TV, so it's 20,000 pesos plus radio. How much is it? How much is it for 30 seconds? 15. So plus 7,500. Okay. Plus 50% of web, which is the same as TV. So plus 10,000. Sometimes you can package that for a little bit lower also.
Yeah, but that's how the production house is usually negotiated.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for you to negotiate the same way.
Yeah. So for edit downs, what are edit downs? It's just shorter versions of the same material. So you don't need to do additional recordings. You don't have to speak faster, for example. They basically just either chop up your original recording, or they speed it up. But you don't have to do additional work. However, if there is a change in copy for like several versions of the commercial, that's considered a derivative. So for edit downs, it's plus 50% of every additional length change, 15, and then of course, if there are a lot of edit downs, then you can package that for much less. And for derivatives, it's plus 65% because it required you to
record again,
or to record a new script.
Yes.
Okay. That's the current rule set that they go by. This is not necessarily something that's practiced in other countries, but again, this rate guide was meant to just reflect what's going on right now. So that's the rate guide. Do we have any questions? Let's
all right.
let's
we're gonna have to rapid fire this, dude, because there's a lot.
Okay, sige,
Okay,
go.
So from Gino, is it still normal for production house to not dictate how much? Okay, we answered that. From Kevin, do rates differ based on how experienced or how new the talent is? We've answered that. Question for later from Jen. According to the rate guide, rates include home studio and production charges. If we will just provide a raw VO file, how much less should we quote? Can I answer this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
The answer to that is Uh, none, zero. Part of your service now that we're in home production, now that we have our own home studios, is the rental of your equipment. So you have to pay for your you have to pay for your computer, you have to pay for your mic, your interface, all that jazz. So yeah, in fact, like personally, what I do is like, since I started out my advertising career as a sound engineer, I offer that as a service. So I use my expertise to charge just a little, just marginally a little bit more.
Yeah. You're
Because-
free.
because-
You're absolutely free to
But
do
if-
that. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
conversely, if you have to add music, if you have to do a lot of sweetening and production work and yada yada yada, then that's there too, right? You have to charge for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Those are all
yeah.
added costs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part, like my practice is I do very light editing. I just remove the mistakes I make, and then maybe tighten things up a bit. It does take a little bit of time, but as you get better and better, it gets faster, and the process gets
That's part of the
faster and
service,
faster, and it just becomes part of your service. You're
Yeah.
free to charge extra, especially if something is very time consuming.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. How your talent is should last as much as we could. Okay. First from Nagi. I hope I'm getting that right. Sorry, first timer newbie question. Can you explain more about lockout periods? Is it clear? Is Nagi here? Is the concept of a lockout period
Yeah, you've
clear?
answered it already. Thank you.
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
All right. From Jen again. If the material will be used in both web and broadcast, what rate should be applied? Should be applied. I
just
think we
answered
answered
that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We just
that too.
answered. Yeah.
All right.
Was it clear? Was the answer clear though? To who asked it? Who asked it?
From Jen.
Where's Jen?
Okay. All right.
All right, let's go back to it. Okay. From Jonas. What up, Jonas? I might hit a nerve here, but can a voice talent using a USB microphone charge these rates? I think the answer to that is it depends.
Yes.
How good is your USB mic?
I use a
I use a
USB
USB
mic.
mic.
Yeah.
I've been using a USB mic.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
There's-
I think there's a certain like floor of quality
Yeah.
that you need to pass in order to do this. And
That along with your box. Your box is also very important.
Your acoustic treatment.
yeah, which is another entire topic, which we have, which we have done, and we might want, and we will do again, probably.
Yeah.
Right, Robbie?
Yes. USB
Okay.
mics tend to have some internal noise, meaning there's a very audible hiss
Yeah.
when you're recording, but that can be eliminated through processing.
Through Studio Magic.
Post-processing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mac, we answered that already. From Hara, is the ad a minute long, but your voice is okay? We've answered that. From Nagi again. Is there such a thing as provincial and Manila rate for voice talents? I don't think so.
In
Unless
Cebu,
Radio, maybe.
in Cebu, I'm not so sure if the rates are lower. I haven't gotten a lot of, but here's the thing: like most of the work now can be done online, and so everybody deserves the same rate. Whatever the advertising rates are here, they should be getting the same anywhere else.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
From Micha. Hi, I'm a newbie. I'm currently a junior in college and a student jock at RX 93.1. And the only VO experience I have are promos for RX and AVPs for UST. How do I know if the pricing is okay? I guess you just look at the rate. Check the rate guide.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
the
the
rate
answer to
card.
that's- yeah, check the rate guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if there's okay lang ba ang student rate? Kasi parang at the same.
No,
Depends.
no. Here,
Student
there's
rate.
no
It
such
doesn't
thing as
really
student
matter.
rate.
It doesn't really matter how old you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
Only-
universal job.
Wait,
Yeah.
Can I add something to just this?
Go ahead.
Okay.
The only student rate I can think of is that if it's a student who wants to hire you,
Right.
Ah,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And you can
We
get
did
paid
that.
in cup
We did
noodles.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. But just because you're a student doesn't mean that you
Deserve less.
deserve less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
There are
Thank
kids. Yeah, there are kids who are, who've been making a career out of VO, and they
yeah.
started like really early. They're students, and they're getting paid just as much as anyone else.
My
So-
daughter.
Yeah,
no,
correct.
Yeah.
My daughter Shanti, she's getting professional rates, and she's 16 years old and still in school.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right. Kevin Evangelista, how do you join the Clingy crew? Can you join the Clingy
Done.
crew? The
He's
answer to
already
that is no.
joined.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Okay.
And I already
Hello.
sent Tita Gray an invitation.
All right. All right. All right.
I clicked on your thing there, and it didn't go anywhere.
No,
So
no, because it's like I sent you an
It's a secret
invite.
group.
I sent you an invite. Yeah, I already sent you an
Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
dark side.
All right. All right.
Ganda ng boses, oh.
Abandon hope
Wow.
for all ye who enter.
Okay, next.
Okay, from Migs with a Z. Question: if a commercial was aired in the Philippines and it was aired in another country, aren't there additional payments? We've answered that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
We're able to. Our general point, Clingy crew, with regards to web materials, once it's on the. Oh, this is an interesting question from Jen
Okay,
again.
go ahead.
With regards to web materials, once it's on there, di na natatanggal, forever there na. How is
Yes.
that length computed?
Yes.
Paano yun?
Okay. So yeah. As long as it's just there for placement, it can pretty much just stay there forever. If the lockout clause says that you cannot work for anybody else for as long as that ad is out there, that should carry a premium. That should
Suntukan na
carry
lang.
that should cost something. But for the most part, that doesn't really happen. I think it's great that there is a repository of our ads online on YouTube and stuff like that that'll
You
stay
can
there
use that
forever.
as- yeah,
So
you
yeah,
can
you
use
can
that
use
as
that.
your portfolio.
Correct.
Yes.
So it also works for us. So yeah, you don't have to charge just extra just because it's online. Remember, you're only charging for usage, which is like the where it's airing for that campaign period, and the length of the material. Here's one question that gets asked a lot. What how much for buyouts? Because that's become quite a and understand this, like all of the studios, they go to me and they go, Robbie, how do we charge for buyouts?
How do we price this?
How do we price this? It's the truth is, it's not recommended.
It's not recommended, dude.
Yeah.
Because
As
a
much
lot-
as
a lot of-
possible, try to avoid.
Yeah, and as much as possible, especially lifetime buyouts, because that's till death do you part.
Yeah, and that means you can't do competing brands for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I mean, if a company really wants to buy your voice out, then make it hurt. charge
Yeah,
charge
make
as
it
high
hurt.
as you can.
$1
And get it
million.
No, but
Get it
yeah, I mean,
monthly.
yeah,
Put it on a monthly.
Charge them monthly.
yeah.
1 million Bitcoin.
So yeah, I mean, some
Masakit.
of the it's okay to have your voice bought out by companies that don't really have a lot of competitors. So for example, what if the Department of Tourism wanted to buy out your voice? There's no other Department of Tourism anyway, so yeah, sure, 600,000, something like that.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be
That's
cool
a
though.
lot.
yeah. Okay,
No,
like
that's
Peter.
that-
Yeah,
If it's a buyout, Jarek, that's not a lot.
no, Peter Musngi.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
So
Yeah.
before, buyouts used to be in the sometimes they cost like 1.5 million, something like that, or
Oh my gosh.
or more.
And then they pay you on top when you get like
Yeah, so sometimes
projects from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they give you like 50% down payment, and then they pay in succession, like smaller amounts after a few
Where
years.
do I
kind of
find
thing.
these companies? Dear
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah. That's why if you want, that's the thing. If you wanna compete on that in
that
that arena,
Dude,
you
I
do
so
have to
wanna
get
compete in that
you
arena.
do have to get better. You do have to train, because it's these guys who are they're very scrupulous when it comes to their voice talents.
Turena Sensei.
Yeah, they'll have like so many people audition, and then they'll take like a month to choose, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
more
There are some-
questions.
From Myra, there are some clients who prefer to have a sit-down recording with a VO talent for live directing/recording. Do these
Okay.
standard rates apply to that as well?
Yes,
Thanks.
that's yeah. That's not it's not an additional service. It's
Yeah.
they just want to be able to hear your performance there and then.
That actually helps you at times.
Yeah, yeah.
It
'Cause,
really helps with
Directed
the
sessions.
redos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're not likely. I mean, when they've directed you and they've got what they want, they're not going to theoretically
that's
they
it.
won't call you
Yeah,
back and say
that's
we
it.
need to redo
That's
this
it.
or redo
They're
that.
Right.
I actually prefer that.
Yeah. So yeah, it actually will help. There are going to be clients who just they put their full trust in you and they'll say, "Kaya mo na yan. You
Oh my,
you can
yeah.
you can
So
do it."
men. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
like-
clients.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so those are the clients that you want to keep because they trust you. You built a rapport with them and they know your style and they like your style and they trust you're gonna do what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
right.
More questions?
Yes, this is a lot, bro, and there are more coming.
Okay, sige, sige. Okay, yeah,
Sisa.
we'll talk
Okay.
about Fiverr and Upwork later. Yes.
Sige. From Sisa, I recently scored a gig for a Star Wars fanfic web series. Congrats. An episode only lasts 3 to 4 minutes each. 3 to 4 minutes each. The client offered to follow the dubbing rates as that's what's closest to what the project entails. Would you say that's a fair offer? I think RJ and Zan can answer this one. I think this is an RJ and
Star
Zan
Wars
question.
fanfic web series. Okay.
Damn.
Might offer.
Well, if we're talking about Star Wars, if it's a company that's outside the Philippines, it depends on the dubbing rates over there. I mean, I think the dubbing rates there are a lot better than they are here. And RJ can attest to that. So
Dubbing rates here suck.
No, okay,
yes,
wait.
because
There's no sugarcoating there.
Yeah, in the Philippines, in dubbing, you deal with volume.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, you earn by volume, not by doing a few here and there. Yeah, it works only in volume.
And just so you understand, this is not dubbing. What is dubbing? Dubbing is you're replacing the voice of a performance that's already been done.
Right.
Right.
So this
So
is
half the
actually
job
original.
yeah. If this is
This is
original
content. Yeah.
Yes, if it's original content, it deserves a higher pay because you're creating the character, you're developing.
It's a standard rate.
Yeah.
It's the difference between an original song and a cover song.
Yeah. So
Right.
like I just recently did a cartoon for a YouTube channel in the States. It was $600. It was $600 for audio that was maybe about a minute or a minute and a half long.
Damn.
So
Nice.
this is
Palibre.
no.
Just
And-
kidding, just kidding.
Hopefully it turns into a recurring role. I don't know. But this one, depending on like you have to also look at the following of the channel. If it's a small channel, then one thing that you can incorporate into your contract with them is that if for example this episode or any video that you're in reaches 250,000 views, then you get an additional payment for that. And for every 250,000 views, or even 500,000 views, you get an additional payment. Okay, this is the practice in other countries, or in the States especially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Did you
Next.
answer the question?
Yeah.
So what would be a fair offer for an episode? Again, it's very hard to determine if this is from the States. Definitely you should be getting a little bit. You shouldn't be using the dubbing rates because the dubbing rates are for dubs. This is not a dub.
Yeah. So essentially, it's actually it's got a small following, and it's not from a different country. It's a Filipino who created the web series, but although she has a small following, it's something that thankfully Louise advised me on previously too. I asked whether she was planning on monetizing the site, which she said she does, although at the moment it doesn't really earn that much yet. But I think I could use the advice that you just gave, which is to base it on whether or not they get more views in the future.
Yeah. So, for example, like I think a fair offer for this would be anywhere between, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10,000 pesos, right?
Yeah, figure at least
starters.
Because this is still a lot of work. I mean, if you're the only character, or if you're doing multiple characters for that matter,
each one is 3 to 4 minutes long.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It's still a lot. It's still a lot of work. Well, of course, when you factor in maybe like the music and everything else, maybe it might be only about a minute or 2 minutes long. Then that's okay. So maybe 5,000 pesos, and then just say, okay, if it explodes, give me some of that.
make sure you're right.
Make it fair to you.
Make sure you write it down.
Or, huh? How many?
I think it's just one. An episode only lasts 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah. Now again, I don't want people to think that mukhang pera lang tayo or anything. That everything has to be monetized. Everything has to be. There are certainly projects that that some of us do, for the love. There are things that we do for charity. But what I want, the value that I want, I'm hoping that will be instilled in you is negotiate properly. Know your value. Know what your worth is. Yeah. And don't take that for granted.
Are you doing anything to picture, or is it just reading a script, Sisa? What's the nature of this?
So yeah, what she wanted was to cast someone who could resemble the voice of a certain character closest. So that's how I landed the gig.
Okay.
But you're reading your own script, or you're reading the script that they give you. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, just reading the script. Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right. So next.
All right, we got what from Giselle.
In the rate guide, the podcast category has only for the opener and closer. How about broadcast series like radio plays? Do we still refer to the character rates? Is anybody a radio play actor here?
Yeah, there are in the group. We really should consult with them and find out. But
my recent project is a podcast series characters.
Okay, so
that's my recent project.
Yes, I hear the pay is not that great. It's like about 2,000 pesos, something like that for a radio play, or a little bit more maybe. I'm not quite sure.
What did you get, Giselle?
It's for the Philippine Spirits, and with Des and Rachel, and then that's
nice.
That's the most mesmerizing thing. I'm with these people, and I'm a newbie.
Okay, wait, but do you?
Congrats, hindi ka na newbie.
But it's a non-profit. But they discuss it's non-profit, so we'll just discuss.
Right. Yeah, for non-profit organizations, it's okay to compromise your rates, of course, especially if it's for a good cause. You can give it to them at a good cost. It's for a good cost. Diba? Right. Yeah. Just learn. Like I'm not saying monetize everything. Be negotiable. All right, Kevin. What does he say? Okay. Next, Jonah. Do we have any other?
Okay.
Questions?
Here. Are audition fees only applicable for prod houses, and are they consistent across the different studios? How do we go about charging / collecting them, since we technically did put in the work for those recordings but weren't chosen for the final recording? I think the answer to that is you got to ask.
Yeah.
It's not uniform.
Yeah.
Like some projects have it, some I think for like the big studios like Sound Design, Loudbox, and Hit, they have that as a standard.
Yeah.
But if you're any studios below that tier, you gotta ask.
Right. Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah. The only reason why there were audition fees is because they'd make you go over to the studio and record there, and so of course they had to cover your transportation costs and
gas
and all
money.
that kind of stuff, gas money. So but if we're doing stuff like from the the comfort of our own homes. Treat your auditions as practice. Just so you know what it's like here in the Philippines. This is how it's so different from the United States. 90% of the work you do as a voice actor in the States is audition. So you're talking about like, casting a really wide net and getting no bites whatsoever, but you're just you're auditioning constantly every single day, and sometimes you get a project. Here in the Philippines, we don't audition as much, especially when you talk about like certain production companies that have rosters already. So if you want to get onto their roster, you have to be quite good. You have to be very efficient. You have to be able to get all the takes quickly. You have to be able to
take direction very well.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yun. All right. Okay. From Jen. Oh no, I forgot what she's referring to. Then shouldn't we edit the rate guide by removing the production part? I think this is in the question. This is related to the studio recording editing question.
Production part.
Yung parang kasi diba there's a part in the rate guide that has like this includes production and recording and blah blah blah.
Yeah, for the most part, it's when you're working from home, the rate that's there, that's already inclusive of your production. If you want to charge for higher, if you want to charge higher for your services in editing, you're free to do that as well. But as a standard, it's already inclusive.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Oh, we have one. Wait, Peter Musni. Thanks, guys. All right. Great weekend, everyone. Okay. Sorry, I may have from Maybell.
Oh wait, we missed Mervin. Fiverr and Upwork.
Yeah.
Already mentioned.
Yeah, let's talk about Fiverr and Upwork.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, Fiverr and Upwork. At least when we're talking about the regular Fiverr, they do not, or Upwork, they do not represent the standard rates. These are a whole other category on their own. These are much less than the standard.
The only reason why you might want to try out for one is to find someone who will hire you for the next 2 years and underpay you for the whole 2 years.
Yeah. You'll definitely you're right. You'll definitely do a lot more work for Fiverr and Upwork than you would if you took the natural route. But the good thing about Fiverr and Upwork is, your chances of getting a job might be a little bit higher because you don't have to audition. People come to you instead. If there's one person who's this is controversial. I'll tell you that. In the States, most voiceovers, they frown upon Fiverr and Upwork because of the undercutting that happens there, the rampant undercutting.
It's the wild, wild west.
Yeah. However, it doesn't mean to say that being on Fiverr is wrong. First of all, Fiverr has Fiverr Pro. Okay, Fiverr Pro is this new arm of theirs where you get to charge your regular rates. And in order to get to Fiverr Pro, sometimes you start off with Fiverr, right? If there's one person who's made quite a killing on Fiverr, it's Dave Soltura. If you want to learn more about how he managed to earn whatever it is he's earning through Fiverr, I think he does a webinar or a workshop for that. Very interesting stuff. Although, like as somebody who is from the GVAA, the Global Voice Acting Academy, we're told not to even mention the word Fiverr.
Wow, Lord Voldemort vibes.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's something like that. It just they really like frown upon Fiverr. However, I wouldn't mind like giving it a shake, maybe for a month, see how it works, just as an experiment for science. right?
But all the stuff like the intangible stuff that we talk about negotiating, it applies especially to fiber. So Fiverr.
Yeah.
So know your worth. So know
Yeah.
your worth. So don't
Yeah. See, look,
say yes to $5 for like a 2-minute video. That's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just saw
that's
this latest on the chat. Yeah, I from Christina. I do VO and Upwork, and it's really low
for so much work.
work.
Yeah. About 500 pesos for a
Yeah.
5-minuter. What
It's
the
like
hell?
$20 for 1,600 to 1,800
Correct.
words.
Yeah, that's
And then the
insane.
lowest I've gotten was $4 because I was new in Upwork and I had no ratings or whatever, but I needed some to earn.
Right.
Oh,
So
that's madness.
yeah.
Like running a hardware store, selling
Correct.
screws and nails.
It's you're that's gonna turn into work and not a life anymore.
It'll take a toll on your soul.
Correct.
Yeah.
Take a toll
So
on your soul.
I wouldn't I mean that's lower than even a third world country, diba? So that's lower than
It's lower than India.
That's lower than India.
Oh man, that's low.
And they have really low rates over there. So yeah, I wouldn't if you want to just like gain experience and then just like sort of if you want to practice and then earn something on the side, sure, but you're really shortchanging yourself and there are better ways to make money out there.
Yeah. Or if you must go that Fiverr Upwork route, like find a way to raise your rate ASAP.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck there. So
Yeah.
So
Make your way up as quickly as possible because
there's a real correlation between quality of client and how low they're gonna pay you. The tendency is the lower they're willing to pay you, that's when they start not replying to your emails.
Yeah.
They start ghosting you when you ask them for payment, stuff like that.
Right.
So it's a cesspool. That's what a lot of people say also about Fiverr.
Yeah, again, if you want to, if you just want to get practice and you consider it practice, and you want to do it for a couple of months or something like that, get steady work for practically nothing. With that attitude, you might as a newbie you might be able to improve and again get practice, but ultimately you want to get out of it as quickly as you can.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's not a viable way to make money. It's based on, results. It certainly seems like it's one possible way. However, is it the best? I beg to differ.
All right. From Luis,
thanks, guys.
from Luis and Claire, thoughts on Casting Call Club and other sites? I have no idea what this is, so you guys. Go ahead.
Casting Call Club. There's some. I guess there's some legitimate.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah, there's some definitely.
There are some. But I like the indie guide that Hara just said.
Yeah.
It's a good way
Who's
to
Casting
base.
Call?
And Casting Call Club. It's a website that it's full of indies and passion projects. Sometimes they have paid and unpaid categories.
Welcome to my music life. It's like
A lot of it sucks, but you can find some like hidden gems, like pieces of
I found
animation.
$500 for an animation project, but it's still kind of low.
So you got to dig through the weeds. That's the thing.
Parang ukay-ukay.
Parang ukay lang yan, bros.
Yep.
Mga sis.
We missed Maybell's question.
Okay, sorry.
What's Maybell's
Yeah.
question? Sorry. What does please?
I may have missed any information about this, but if you're doing multiple characters for the same gig,
wow.
do you charge per character?
RJ, Zan?
Okay.
Wait,
Go
is
ahead.
This for dubbing?
Is this for dubbing? Or is this for?
Yeah,
He
it
doesn't
depends
say.
on what it's for. Yeah.
Hi.
If you're doing dubbing, generally, no, you don't get to charge extra unless
Oh my
it
God,
is a
yes.
unless it's an unreasonably heavy load. But if it's for, how would it work for commercials? That I'm not sure about.
Or
For
like a
commercial, I think it would be per
I'm
character.
thinking
I
like
put
a
it per
video
character.
game or something like that, where you might have to play
yeah,
three or
yeah.
four characters.
Yeah. In the U.S., they pay by hour session. Okay, and within that hour session, you can allow up to like 3 or 4 characters, and then you're paid like 25 or 15,000 pesos, $300, $400, something like that. So up to 4 characters, basically, 3 or 4 characters. So I guess you can use that same rule here, but that's for video games, and animation. It will depend on the context. It'll depend on if it's going to be for ads or something else. Yeah.
Okay.
So and then you also have to consider like the length of the lines, because if one character is like, "Hi," are you really going to charge for that? So
if you're dubbing for like Ghost of Tsushima, which has like 10 billion monologues, or Metal Gear Solid, yun.
Right.
Tagal yun. Anyway.
Oh my God, the dream.
The dream
Dude,
is Metal Gear
like
Solid.
my friggin' dream also.
Okay.
It's a snake. Anyway.
Okay, another question.
Where can newbies start to look for auditions? Jonas, what a great question.
Yeah.
The Vocal Alliance community page. So
yeah.
please add
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's also ICAP if you're familiar.
ICAP is good.
But that has but that's also a little wild westy. So
I booked several projects now.
Yeah.
Play your cards right. Play your cards right.
Yeah. Thankfully, the moderators are also members of at least one moderator is a member of Vocal Alliance, and so she's on the prowl. Her name is wait, I don't know if I should say her name. Anyway.
Wow. A spy, a shinobi.
She's on the prowl for she also wants to champion fair rates, and so anytime that there's somebody who posts something that is obviously like undercutting and not unfair, she boots them out. So
how do we find ICAP? Where is that?
That's
independent creatives. What's it called? Independent creatives and professionals.
And professionals.
Yeah.
Independent creative artists, I think, and professionals.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
Independent creative advertising.
Advertising.
There you go.
There you go. Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's one place that you can. But really, I mean, one thing you can do is go direct, do direct marketing. Look up top 10 video production companies in the Philippines, and then send your reels to them. And then if they like what they hear, they'll email you back, or nothing really beats a referral. Okay. So if you have people who can refer you to different companies, even family in the beginning, it's always a good way to start.
Yeah. I mean, you'll be surprised how much your own Facebook friends list
correct
has a need for voiceover. So just ask.
Yeah.
And switch it to public. Switch your post to public.
Auditions and casting calls Philippines. Yes, also has. Yes.
I think we got everything.
Thank you, Kevin.
Everything. Christine. Okay, it became a discussion on Fiverr and Upwork. I agree, it is practice.
Yeah. Kevin says, I got an Upwork job mostly for the chance of being hired. But there's something, a portfolio. I kind of got lucky, I guess, at least compared to the other rates you're saying. But yeah, it's low.
Yeah. So I think we got all the questions. So does anybody have like mga pahabol or?
There's one more thing that we have to discuss though, and
okay,
I'll make this quick. Let me just share my screen once again, and this is a sample quotation that you will probably see if. Has everybody here downloaded the VO Pro Survival Kit?
If you haven't, it's posted on the announcements board. So
yes, please. Yeah, and if you're new to the group, and I usually add it to the welcome message. So please download it. It's super helpful if you want to know the vernacular that we use as voice talents. In giving directions or when getting coached, and all the other technical jargon that is used in the voiceover industry. There's a nice list over there. You'll also get a sample contract that you can use. It's a general services contract. And then this is an example of a quotation. This is also furnished to you absolutely for free. I had to pay $50 for this stuff.
Wow.
No, but we localized it. We customized it for our purposes.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
So
yeah. So
so let's take a look. So and this one was also made by RJ. RJ put this together as well. RJ Saldran, who's here with us. So okay, you've got for non-broadcast quotation, you put your name, voiceover artist, or whatever your brand is, if you have one. Then quotes for supply of voiceover recording. You have to have the title of the project, approximately something minutes or seconds if you want, and then put the number of words. Okay, and this includes the basic session fee. Okay, this is something that again is used as a convention in the States. Basic session fee, which is the recording session. Okay, studio costs, self-directed recording of your script in agreed style. This, when you say no sync, it means you didn't have to do ADR or automatic dialogue replacement where you're yeah, because it's in the States. If you here's another difference between here in the States. In the States, if you have to do automatic dialogue replacement for an ad, that's an added cost. Here, it just comes with the territory, unfortunately. Yeah, or option to direct session online. Sometimes it's also important to write the name of the director or producer if you have access to that information already.
Yeah.
Know everybody that's involved in the production. No.
Yeah.
Editing to produce finished audio. So this is what you're actually creating, right? Editing to produce finished audio. When you say finished audio, it means good for broadcast already. Okay, as broadcast quality at 48 kilohertz. Is it kilohertz?
Yes, kbps.
Okay, 16-bit or 24-bit if you want. Wave format or any other format of your choice. It could be MP3 or AIFF.
But though we don't recommend MP3 unless they ask for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a suckier file format.
Yes.
It what?
It's just a suckier file format in general.
Well, yeah,
like,
but
in terms of
some
quality.
things that's all they can use.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
yeah.
Unless they ask for it, of course.
So yeah. And then this one is arbitrary. You can say one round of recuts or revisions in case of performance errors, and then you have a revision policy below. So this is very important that you actually have this written in. This almost serves as like an agreement or a MOA or even a contract. So one round, it could be 2 rounds of if you want, and then the usage license. Yeah, you choose one. You choose one or a combination on requirements of usage. So NA means company internal use only, so not applicable. External BTL, then you specify, then no broadcast. If it's broadcast, then change this to broadcast quotation, no?
Right.
And then you're going to have to also put in campaign length, lockout period, all that kind of stuff, and that's what these things are for. And then fees are payable. Then you choose the manner by which you are to be paid, by check or bank deposit or transfer, by PayPal if you want, all that kind of stuff. And then when, upon presentation of invoice or before audio is released, within 7 days of. So this is where you ask. This is where you negotiate with them. No, it could be 30 days. It could be 60 days. Or within 90 days. And then here's your revision policy. Any mistakes made by me will be corrected at no additional cost to you. Any changes to your script after recording are chargeable to cover re-recording and re-editing. So you can change this to after first revision. Okay? So script revisions in excess of 30% of original copy will constitute a new project.
Good.
Yun. And then this one is just like the, legalese.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. And then
How
maybe
do we get a copy of these?
this is in the
It's on the Book Alliance page.
Is it?
It's in the VO Pro survival kit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have that. I haven't seen it though.
It's there. Yeah, just re-download it if you want.
Okay.
But yeah, that should make you also look more professional.
Yeah.
And at least all of the details are in there that you need. So whenever you quote, make sure that you have this information so that you can make proper quotations, and then you use the guide, a rate guide accordingly. Yeah, I guess. Wow, we're over time by 30.
Two last two
Yeah.
questions though.
Go ahead. Yes.
I think this is a question from Stan, which I think we weren't able to completely answer. How do
Okay.
we go about collecting, I'm guessing, audition fees, since we technically did put in the work for those recordings but weren't chosen for the final recording? That's where the contract comes in. That's where your initial negotiation comes in.
Yeah.
Kasi ano yan eh, habulan yan eh.
Yeah. So again, mostly it's just the production houses that offer audition fees, and that's not always going to be the case. Okay. Yeah. So just ask if there are any audition fees. Just call up the casters and find out.
Yeah. Don't intimidate yourselves into not asking for details.
Don't shy.
Don't shy. Like that. Don't make my mistake my mistakes in particular, because I used to be very afraid to ask for details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But always ask, as
kindly,
polite as possible.
Yeah, kindly. Wag naman yung ano.
Hoy. May ilang auditions na ginawa ko, ha? Magkano yan?
Kaya, dalawang revisions lang, ha? Ano? Ha? Angas, eh. All right. From Giselle, when do we send a quotation? Again, it depends on your negotiation.
Yeah, no. Whenever they ask, what's your budget? I mean, what's your talent fee? What's your rate?
What's your rate?
Yeah, the moment they ask that, send them a quotation so that they understand what they're paying for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in that crucial part of the Ligawan process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows that you mean business. Okay?
Yeah.
And they won't try to take you on for a spin.
Yeah.
What if they haven't?
Sorry.
Giselle,
but before I send any kind of rate, I usually ask the details, like, is this broadcast, non-broadcast?
Yes.
Correct.
The
Yes.
usual.
Right.
But how do I, the actual question is, how do I, if it ghosted me or they just want someone?
Yeah, if they ghost you, if you give your rate and then they say, and they don't reply, they're not worth your time.
They're done.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
Yeah.
They probably aren't worth your time.
my standard reply to the rate is okay, based on like the info you gave me, like 10 seconds or whatever, 30 seconds. I have this rate guide which says it can range from X amount to Y amount, but if you can give me details, I'll send you a quotation.
Yeah, correct.
But then once they ghost me after the rate guide, that means they don't. They don't.
Masyadong namamahalan sila.
And this is basically going to be your way also to filter out, the clients that you don't need. So these are the guys who try to scam you basically.
Yeah. And also it's important then, like when you negotiate, this will sound very obvious, pero tone is very important. So it's always good to have a respectful tone, even if your client's frankly being a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
So gets mo. So parang kunwari, like there are a lot of clients, especially before, I'm pretty sure meron pa rin ngayon. Mga tipong you'll message them and then this is your rate. And then
This is very important.
Yeah.
What you're saying is very important.
Yeah. And then they'll go like, huh? Bakit yun yung rate? Why is that your rate? I mean, you're just gonna talk. Like, diba? Which is basically they're saying that you're not worth it. It's just a not so direct way of saying, what the hell is this? You're not worth it. You go, okay, if that's how you feel, like you just go, if that's how you feel, then thank you, we can't work together. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then just be respectful.
Yeah. And never assume that they know what the rates are. You know, there are
Yes.
a lot of talents, there are a lot of clients out there who simply aren't aware, and so if it's your job, it's your role to educate, to inform.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Always assume first na ano. Always assume first that they ask these questions or say these things because they are not informed.
Yeah.
Because no one, because I mean, on
This is
average,
new.
no
This
one,
is new for everybody.
yeah, it's new for everyone, and on average, no one really makes a habit of like pissing people off for sport. I
Yeah.
mean, there are people like that, but you know what I mean. It's a very small percentage of people, hopefully.
Yeah. Maintain your professionalism at all times.
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah. Oh, and another I don't know, and another tip that I learned from a very wise woman, aka my wife. She said na another tactic that clients do is like, oh, can we, can you give us a discounted rate, and then we'll promise that you can do other we will send you other projects in the future. Okay, so, diba? Okay,
Sounds
that's a
like
very
awkward
that's a
and
very common tactic.
Red
One
flag.
thing, yeah, that's a red. It's a yellow flag.
Yellow.
Tapos,
Okay, fine.
ano,
Pink.
oh, hi, Christina Benzo knows Gita. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ano tawag dito? What you can do is what she says in negotiations is let's start with the normal rate for this one, and then let's talk about discounts down the line. So
Correct.
basically, parang you're establishing that relationship na parang
Right.
it's the meet halfway thing. Diba?
That's good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'll
So
try
do
that.
that, and then yun. So parang you're establishing na, uy, suki. Sige.
Yes.
Counted
Yeah.
na yung rate mo.
If people
Diba?
are if people are asking for discounts, right off the bat, tell them, hey, let's develop trust first. Let's build a relationship. Okay, and that's why, like, if you're working with a production company or a client, a direct client for the first time, in order to establish trust, ask for pay after, or even a 50% down payment if you're working with
Yeah.
them for the first time.
Yeah. Or if
That's-
there's a lot of like, that's where intuition kind of comes in. Like you kind of, depending on how they talk and how they,
Yeah.
that's something you just gotta judge for yourself.
Right. The the goal of every voice talent is to develop a clientele that they can build relationships with throughout their life. So, don't you're not just a voice for hire. You're really there to become the to become the brand identity, or to really give value to a company, through your work. And that, one tip that you can use is get to know them a little bit more. Hey, like when you email them, make friends with them on Facebook. Find out what their likes are and what their birthdays are, and maybe even send them a gift.
In short, chikahin nyo sila.
Yeah.
Tumika kayo. Like,
Yeah.
you're people too. They're people too at the end of the day.
Right. And they'll really appreciate that. And they'll want to keep just getting your services over and over again if they can see you as a human being.
Yeah.
And if you can see them as human beings as well.
And that's the key to making a career out of this work.
Correct.
It's a lot of it is PR. There's a huge PR aspect to this.
Yes. Connect to them as a human being. Correct.
Yes. Yes.
And take
Yes,
it from
Alan.
a 71-year-old goat. You want to get started.
Greatest of all time.
You want to get started with these relationships early on, because you get to my age and it's like, fuck it, I don't care. I don't care whether he likes me or whether he doesn't. I'm too damn old. But if you start early and you cultivate these relationships, then you'll have a great career.
I remember something Alan Milford Vanek said, that this is a business and you build businesses by building relationships.
Correct.
Right.
And that was really good advice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah. Think of yourself as a business.
And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You know, that this is not a job that is lucrative, and that you'll never make money from this anyway. Just you know,
Give up.
just do it for the love.
You talking about your parents, Robbie?
You know, don't let people tell you that. That's hogwash. Okay, this is a legitimate business. It's a legitimate career, and it can be very rewarding.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, baby. Just
yeah.
like any art form.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why, please, folks, know your worth. You're worth as much as you, me, and everybody else here inside this room right now. What we're trying to promote, in Vocal Alliance, is that you become the best version of yourself. You know, because you have something that you can put forward and is valuable to other people, and that's who you are. It's your personality. It's what makes you you. Nobody else can be better than you at being you. So if you want to be a better voice actor, be a better person. You know, we always say, oh, I want to sound like this guy. I want to sound like I want to sound like this character. I want to sound like this voiceover. Forget that. Just be better versions of yourself. If you want to be an authoritative speaker, learn to be authoritative. If you want to be compassionate, learn what it's like to feel compassion.
Yeah, or ideally learn them all.
Learn them all.
Enrich
yourself as a person, as a human being.
There's
compassionately authoritative.
Yeah. yeah. Oh yeah, and exercise. The joke. Okay. Yeah. By the way, this is how the Clingy Crew started. So this is so. So yeah, it's basically because a lot of people forget that voice acting is acting, and actors really just draw from their own lives.
Yeah. And acting is being.
Yeah, acting is being. So yeah, if you're gonna cop someone's licks, then that's fine. I mean, every artist cops the licks of their quote unquote idol.
Yeah.
And then, but use that as a tool to eventually find your own voice. Correct. And yeah, and like I said earlier, in the voiceover industry, in terms of like timbre and range, I have a lot of friends who have the same voice as me, and we usually compete for the same commercials. But it's just a question of your personality. That's usually what determines whether you get that commercial or not.
Jonah, we talked a bit ago about sending your final piece in on as a WAV file or something like that. Somebody here is asking, what is the recommended file format for sending in auditions? That's where you'd want to definitely use MP3s, right?
Yes,
probably MP3, just
MP3.
to have mercy on your Google Drive.
Yeah.
Have mercy on your Drive folder. You know what I mean?
Right, correct.
Because they're not gonna broadcast that anyway. They just need to hear your delivery.
So I'm sure we missed out on, upon reviewing this this video, I'm sure we're going to realize that we didn't get to cover a lot of different topics, but there's always going to be room for that in another webinar for sure. But if there's anything else that is crossing your mind right now, or that you want answers to, if there's a question still
somebody's
haunting you,
where you're going to post this recording.
Oh, well, we'll post it on the group page. Yeah, on the community page.
We'll add the notes to the comments or the caption.
So I want every
secretary. Robbie's secretary now.
Okay, I want to say thank you to whoever else was typing.
It'll only cost you 500 pesos to get in to listen to it.
Yeah. But by the way, Clingy Crew membership starts at 20,000. The joke.
Wow, we haven't even charged for association shoes yet.
Eventually, Vocal Alliance community will just be called Clingy Crew community.
We're taking over.
So yeah. I'd like to invite everybody to please turn on their cameras if you can. Let's take a group photo.
Let's see you. We have it. Oh, some of the people left already.
Oh, nga, okay lang. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay lang yan.
20K
Well,
worded
we had
scripts.
43.
Oh,
so
we have a lot of clingy crew people.
Yes, very nice. Yes, represent.
Try to guess who they are. Try to guess.
Okay, is Nadine there? Nadine, are you there? Christina.
I see so many
Hara.
clingy crew members.
Jonas, turn on your
We look
cameras if
here.
you can. If
Not that
if
we're
not,
there.
it's okay.
We're there.
But yeah, okay. I'm gonna take 2 pictures for posterity.
Who's
Everybody
posterity?
smile
Who's
on the count of 3. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Tapos jump shot, ha?
Mamaya.
Tapos compress. Ready.
Paano kaya yung compress?
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. And then another one. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, smile. Perfect. Great job,
The
guys.
clingy crew is so supportive of you, Robbie. Whenever you have your static interference,
Yes.
the clingy crew tunes in.
Yeah, I want to invite people to tune in to my streaming show as
subscribe
well.
our page.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you want to see next. No, we're actually serious. If you guys wanna, if you have any questions at all about voiceover, about sound, about editing, about acoustic treatment, because that's all very crucial. Those are all very crucial parts of voiceover work. If you guys
I actually before you guys go, I want to add just one more file here, if you don't mind. I'll put a link here. It's just an evaluation sheet, so that I know where I could improve on, or if yeah, just judge me. That's basically
you really should seek a different occupation, Robbie.
wait.
I think that's the answer.
The one time na pwede maging judgy.
Yeah, we need to know, what's your day job?
Okay, hold on. Let me just get
quality survey. Patay, ito-troll ka na ng mga clingy crew dito. Supot yan si Robby. Supot.
Once all the way.
Oh.
Okay, so this is the workshop evaluation. Here you go. Let me just this way we can make sure that we improve on things, for other workshops in the future. So yeah, please fill up the form as best you could.
Can I fill this up too, Robbie? Joke lang. Si Robbie, ano yan?
Tell me if the link works, huh?
It works.
Okay naman.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says I wasted my time on this. It's highlighted. I can't change it. No, just kidding.
So, but I certainly hope that you guys learned a little something new today, and we hope you understand also that we really want to see this industry flourish and not go to the dumps the way other industries have recently.
I feel ripped off, pare.
Ripped off, huh?
So nakakaalaman na kung sino yung mga clingy crew dito.
For the free workshop. We love this career of ours. We love this job. We love this passion. We love it passionately, and we only want to see it flourish. We only want to see everybody succeed. We want to see everybody improve. We want to see all of you guys be able to earn a living doing this fantastic job. And we got to work together. We gotta uphold each other, protect the rates. We gotta lift each other up. Like I said,
work together.
Yeah, a rising tide lifts all boats. Remember that.
What's the clingy crew song? We have a clingy crew song. Lean on me. Lean on me is our song.
No.
Times in our lives.
RJ, can I call you tomorrow? I have a question. I have a question about I have a couple of Phil's Cap questions. Can I give you a call tomorrow? I think you would know some of these answers.
I'll see. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'll give you a call tomorrow. Thank you.
So yeah. Anything else you guys want to add, or I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more. I mean, now would probably be a good. If anybody wants to introduce themselves, we would love that.
My name is Gray.
Yeah.
Gleason. I don't know what I'm doing here exactly, but you asked me to come, so I'm here.
He's actually a janitor. He doesn't do voiceover. He cleans toilets.
Yeah.
But he found the link.
He asks great questions, though. Really good questions.
It's a very smart janitor.
Yeah. Not to say that no janitors are smart. Janitors can be very smart too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 2020 na, guys.
Hey,
okay.
I'm a member of the Genius Janitors Club.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
But he's practically a Mensa member.
and he starred in that movie with what's his name again? He's a janitor that was actually
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. There you go.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And of course we have RJ Sildran here, another core member. You've been hearing Jonah Pakulan. Zan here, also another fantastic veteran. Just listen to his voice. He is the voice of Cinema One.
Damn. Talaga?
Yeah. You
No,
know that?
that's
Yes,
that's news to me too.
unfortunately.
RJ is the voice of CNN. Oh, is it CNN?
Not anymore. One news.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And then Jonah
I don't-
Pakulan here, just so you know, he's the voice of all the Jollibee ads. Sample daw.
Samples. Ang pangit.
Wow.
Wala na, may sample na lahat. Kung magsasample ako,
Yeah.
sample na lahat.
Yeah. Aaron, okay. Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Ito na yung entertainment segment ng ano.
Who
This
else?
is
Yeah, we want to get to know you guys. Tell
Yeah.
us, like Alan.
Yeah.
What are you
Alan,
known for? Come on.
Oh, Alan, your shop. Tell them.
Shameless plugging in the
Shameless plug.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, for
Who's
all
around?
your
My NT1 is still waiting.
audio
Ito na.
gear needs,
Yan,
you can,
okay, Alan.
Buy my shop. And,
Audio Zone PH.
AudioZone PH.
It's
It's in
in
his
Lazada and in Facebook. So if you have things that you are looking for and you can't find it here, and then I can try to help you with that. So I think some of the guys here in this webinars, I think they have bought some items from me already.
You're talking equipment?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And all the best
Alan, Go
kinds.
XLR.
Yeah, the Go XLR is coming next. It's arriving next week. So just hold on tight, man.
Yeah.
Oh, sino pa?
Yeah, guys, this is just another one of those VO truths. Encouraged ang pagiging walang hiya sa VO. The less shame you have, the more money you will.
Bagay pala.
So kailangan makapal mo ka, Jonah, no?
Oh, pare. Pakapalan ng festo, bro. So, kung merong mga magsosolicit, ganun, wag lang mga tipong multinet, ano mo. Wag lang yung mga shady
Nagbibenta
stuff.
po ako ng leche flan.
Ayan.
Sino yun?
Si Jeric.
Jeric.
Saka pastillas.
Okay. Oh, Clingy Crew, maglabasan na kayo.
Alan, yeah, tell us about yourself, man.
What about me? I'm
No,
also a newbie.
Yeah, after Alan, the other Alan.
There's
The
another
other Alan, okay. Alan Luigi, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm practically new to this group. I do voice for 1PH.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Sample.
Good job, man.
Sample.
Sample.
That's thanks to RJ.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Pero sample pa rin.
Nice microphone.
Okay.
Nice.
Sino ba?
Okay, so Kevin says, I also have to go right now, but this was an amazing. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Kevin. And hope to see you at a
At the
workout one of these days.
Clingy Crew.
Oh yeah,
Clingy Crew,
definitely.
yes.
Yeah,
Definitely,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Question though, are we releasing this video of this recording to the public?
Yes. Oh, you know what? I realized I could have stopped recording already.
Yeah, I think we should stop.
Hala, lahat naman po, bulastugan
I'll
natin.
just,
naka ano.
yeah, I'll just cut.
Edit out, edit out.
Bye.
Post.
All right. Let me just
Okay.
stop this. Guys, thank you again so much for tuning in. I'll just
Like and
stitch this
subscribe to our
together and post.
page.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robbie.
Like and subscribe.
Sorry,
Don't forget the bell icon. Tickle
My
that bell
channel.
icon. Ew.
Wait, are you trying to do a legit closer? Because we need to.
No, you know what? You know what? Forget about the closer. Well, thank you guys. That's it. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stop now.